Happy Wednesday, everybody. I just realized as I hit the camera button that I, once again, did not update the latency, so there is going to be probably like a 30 to 60 second delay, which is unfortunate. I will definitely have that corrected by next stream. Next Wednesday, we are starting the Voron switchwire build, which I'm super excited about. I still don't know how I'm going to break up that stream. When we did the Voron 0.1, we switched from a weekly stream to almost a daily stream, and I don't think with everything I have going on I can do a daily stream, but I'm thinking that the game plan is Wednesday we will very likely do a general unboxing and look at everything that comes in the LDO kit, and then I will probably do a Friday stream. So it'll probably be Wednesday and Friday while we're building it, and, excuse me, I don't know how many streams it'll be. From what I understand, it's definitely an easier build than the Voron 0.1, but when we did the Voron 0.1, I had just built one, so I had familiarity, while with this, I do not have familiarity, and I'm sure we will run into some parts where I will be stumped. So I anticipate that if we do the unboxing Wednesday, start building Friday, it'll at least be that week, so next week, the following week, and probably the following week, roughly is what I'm thinking. And as far as printed parts go, I had mentioned that this is the initial batch of parts that I was almost done printing, and then I decided I wasn't happy with the quality, so I started over. And I'm still not super happy with the quality, but it's at least better than it was. And I'm done with most of the core colored parts, and I'm working on the green accent parts right now. The only thing is, I also discovered, which I should have looked into beforehand, that I've been printing them all in the Voron 0.1, and the Voron 0.1 works for all of the main parts, but it's too small for the skirts, and it seems like it's too small for the electronic mounting things as well. So I'm probably going to have to commission a different printer. I just don't know which one I'm going to throw like the Wham Bam Hotbox on to print these parts out. So I'll have at least all the parts printed that we need to get started, and then I might have to continue printing some things as we go, but they'll be done before the next stream, so we'll figure that all out. How's everybody doing? I got G Funny, Lisa, Sam, Eggy. I saw Carl. Carl's not feeling well. I hope you feel better. Chikaro's here. I saw a couple other people in the chat as well. I hope everyone's having a great Wednesday. So today's going to be kind of like a variety stream, if you will. We are going to be taking a look at the Engravinator, which we've been building for the past couple of weeks. It is completely done, other than a camera that I will be adding at some point in the future. I'm not in a rush because I can use it like any other laser without a camera, where I just frame the job and then engrave it. But we're going to take a look at this, and I will show you guys the things I've done since last stream. We're going to do a little bit of engraving. I prepped a couple of tiles with paint on them, and we are actually going to, in preparation for the Voron stream, try to engrave the tile with a Voron logo that I found that has all the different Voron parts in it. And so if that goes well on one of them, we'll do a second one, and then we might do a giveaway where I'll ship it. I'm going to put a cork backing on it, so it'll be a coaster, and then I'm going to have one for the stream, and then I might ship one out if it turns out good. I don't know how it's going to look. I haven't dialed in settings on this at all, but we're going to start with that. Then I was hoping to have the printed camera jib that I've talked about done for today's stream, but if you saw on Twitter, I posted, every time I self-source things, I always order the incorrect amount of parts. Even though I know myself, and if it says 10, I get 20, I somehow goofed on two of the things, and one of the things was actually an issue with the BOM, where it said I needed these 1.5 millimeter pins. I don't know where they are, but they actually needed to be 3 millimeters. So they will be here today. I will finish up the camera jib by next week, so that way for the Voron switchwire build, I'll be able to take this camera and like get you guys all the angles of the build, which will be super cool. And then if you can see it behind me, oh, that's the wrong way to go. We got a belt printer in, which is super exciting. It's the SainSmart Infi 20. I've been trying to get a belt printer in for like 6 to 8 months, and they were gonna send me one last year, then they ran out of stock, and then lots of things happened, and so they got one in. I've been playing around with it a little bit, and if we have time, we will be taking that over here and trying to get a print going on it. So that will be fun as well. And then I ordered pizza. Last week we talked about a pizza party, and I had ordered pizza 2 days ago, which is now gone. So I have pizza getting delivered in roughly 55 minutes. Eggy says Hawaiian pizza is not pizza, but I think he is very much so incorrect. So it's gonna be a chill stream. Yeah, we'll start off by just, hey, Lisa's here. We'll start off, I've been engraving images this week. They came out great, awesome. It's been, it's just AliExpress listings that sucks for buying in bulk. Yeah, I agree. It is also very confusing. I'm scratching my nose. I don't understand how I goofed on some of the parts. Like I did it with this too, which was kind of because I deviated from the BOM a little bit. But when I'm sourcing parts, I create a spreadsheet with all the items. Did I order it? Where did I order it from? And so there's no excuses really, other than it's just me. And I also was sourcing parts for this, the other thing I'm building, and trying to prep for the switch wire. And so I think that I might have gotten my lines crossed. That's at least the excuse that I'm throwing out. So yeah, let's start off by looking at, let's start off by looking at this, and I'll show you guys some of the changes I've made since last week. I brought out the handy dandy cheese board or Lazy Susan, and we're not going to be engraving this, but it will be cool to show you guys, let me see this way, some of the different angles. So yeah, it is complete. Last stream, I think I was putting on the panels. So panels have been finished, handles are on top, which is really cool. Kind of the thought process behind this was that you bring the laser engraver to what it is you want to engrave. So if there's something large, you just take it over to it, place it on it, and you have the laser kind of focused at the base level of where this enclosure is. I'm planning on using it for small items more so than large items. So I'll be using it a little bit differently, but that's kind of the reason why it's got the handles on top. Last week we did a little bit, I got the cover on, which has the Engravinator logo on it. Last week we did a little bit of test engraving, I think like 1 or 2, and we were having issues with one of the axes. And anyone that missed it, when I got the TMC 2100s for this, there's 2 of them, the X and Y axis, the potentiometer actually came off, and so I reflowed it back on. It seemed like it was working, but it wasn't. There was steps that were being skipped randomly, and it was jacked up. So I ordered TMC 2208s. I replaced both of them with TMC 2208s, got the VREF figured out on them, crimped the wires shorter since last time, and so it is good to go, which I'm super excited about. So I'm going to be doing a full video on this on the main channel, just kind of talking about the machine itself, the project, you know, what the build was like, which the build was really not bad. The instructions were great. The biggest issues we ran into was that I deviated from the BOM, which go figure, of course. PLA, which is fine for its basically lack of or minimal shrinkage, and its not very high heat deflection is totally fine. Heard it. Oh, inappropriate. I can't see if there is a. 1 second. I need a better system. 666. Thank you very much for the donation. It'll go towards the pizza fund. No, I brain farted. Yes. So PLA is fine as far as like its thermal resistance or its heat deflection, because there's really not anything getting too hot. The issue I ran into is that the tolerances on this are fairly tight, and maybe I probably should have printed out one part and just tested it with some hardware before just committing to everything. But on the first stream, we cracked a part, nearly cracked a second part. So everything's been reprinted in Prushium and PTG. I think PTG is a much better option for this build. Oh, one other thing I did. You can see it right here. So all of the cable or V-slot covers, I was using, I think I got rid of it completely, but I was using kind of like a rubber TPU material. And 1, it didn't match the orange, and 2, it didn't really sit very well. So I found an STL someone had designed for printable V-slot covers, and I printed them all out in the same color. So not only do the colors match better now, the color scheme is like perfect, on par with all the parts, but it also fits much better, which is awesome. So that was another thing that I did. So yeah, I spent some time. I also don't think we did this on stream. I had to cut up the carbon filters. I bought a few of them, and then there's a fan that when you power on the machine, it sucks the smoke and fumes out, passes it through the carbon filter. And I did do a small wooden engraving somewhere, which I don't know where anything's at. And there's definitely still some smoke smell, but I've done engravings in here with just the windows open and no enclosure and no fan. and no carbon filter, and it definitely makes a huge difference. So I'm a really big fan of that. And I'm trying to think, is there anything else before we do some engraving here? One last thing. Why not T209s? There was not any reason in particular other than when I went on Amazon and looked for what they had available that could be delivered quickly. I saw T208s and I just grabbed them. And plus the T208s were newer, or like a newer TMC stepper driver than the 2100s are already in here. So I figured it was fine. It might actually be T slot, not V slot. Now that I'm thinking about it, are they V slot? It's got the inward grooves. One second here. Actually, that's a great question. I'm pretty sure that I've been using those two things interchangeably. Looking it up. The shape of T-slot makes it easy. The shape of it's probably T-slot and not V-slot. I'm not seeing. If I can find a simple image, I could tell you right now. I'm pretty sure it's T-slot, not V-slot. But yeah, offhand, I actually can't picture. Even online, T-slot and V-slot seem to be used interchangeably. Like it says T-slot and then in parentheses V-slot. So that's a great question. Yeah, I think it's T-slot as well. I don't know why I've never had that question. Aluminum T-slot. So I'm looking at the T's. Yeah, it looks like T-slot from what I'm seeing right here. Where it basically has a, I can show you too, this might help. If I just go like this, you can see the edge of it. It looks like a T-slot to me. I can also probably look at just where I ordered it from Masumi. One thing that I do need to still correct is, this is the front door to the thing, and it's meant to, it pops in place so you can take it off fairly easy, but it's not supposed to be able to move back and forth like this. What I discovered is, because I didn't go with the exact same ones from Masumi, I got them from AliExpress, the corner brackets are smaller than the intended ones, and so that gap between this printed bracket and the corner is, isn't supposed to be there. Like there should be no gap. So what I'm gonna do is print out a little part that goes into the T-slot, and that will basically act as a bumper for both sides of it. So let's go ahead and get this going. Move the cheese board out of the way. The only downside to it being enclosed and the acrylic is that the smoke very quickly, I don't know how well it picked up on camera, but there's like a haze already on the inside of it, almost like a dust from the laser smoke from me doing just a little bit of wood. So I anticipate it's not gonna look very clean for very long, which isn't that big of a deal, but it just, it's a really aesthetically nice looking machine. And so when I first saw the smoke building up, I was like, oh. Okay, so thinking here, let's start off by let's start off by plugging everything in. Let's see. We've got a power cable. Okay, power is on. And then we've got USB cable. Okay, we are plugged in. I'm going to move the stream and chat over to this window so I can pull up Lightburn. Okay. Okay, so what we're going to do is screen share so you guys can see this. Yeah, no vent. Well, like there is the exhaust fan on the back that pulls through the carbon, but the smoke still rises. And I think part of it could be too, there's an opening on the top of it where the camera is going to be once I mount it. And then the camera will be super cool for being able to have it take a photo of the workspace and then in the software lining up the design. While right now I'm gonna have the laser on low power and do an outline of kind of the whole design area, which works, but it will be much more, I guess, user-friendly, having it where I can just have it snap a photo of whatever's in there and then align the design to it versus having to kind of manually do it. So in here, let's see, we've got Engravinator. Does it say it's connected? It does say it's connected, so let's see if we can home it. No, it says disconnected. Let's reconnect. Let me reboot really quick, 1 second. It's weird, it did this to me last time where I had to do this a couple of times. Let me switch to this and switch back. Nope. It might be my USB cable, I don't exactly know. Okay, it definitely lit up there. Okay, cool. Now we can see, oh, you guys can't see. Let me move the console window over here so you guys can, nope. Let's move it over there. So you guys can see. So basically it says the firmware version, which is Gerbil 1.1H, and now we should be able to hit the homing button. Okay, so now the machine's homing. Yeah, I've noticed a buildup on my lens cover on the laser. Yeah, have you been, because you've been doing a lot more lasering than I have, Carl. Have you been cleaning your lens fairly often? I know that, I think the method I've seen primarily is just like a Q-tip with some IPA on it. I haven't done that yet, but I know that one, when you get buildup on it, it's not going to engrave as nicely, and two, it can actually burn out the lens much quicker. Okay, so this is our work area, which is, say 100 by 100, that shouldn't be, let's see, device settings. No, 130 by 130, so that's right. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is grab the design, which I got this logo that is huge. We will scale it shortly, but we'll start off by just bringing it down in size. And then I just want it to engrave the parts here, not the sort of black outline. So we'll go Tools, Trace Image, and then we can adjust the sensitivity or the threshold. That looks pretty good. You can see the purple lines for what it's going to sort of grab from the image. So then we'll do OK, move this out of the way, we don't need you anymore. And then this is all gonna be grouped. And so what I want is, I want this to just do an outline of the actual hexagon. And then I want the parts on the inside to be filled in. So we're going to go up here to ungroup, and then we will grab this and we will change the color on it so it's on a different layer. Okay, and so now we want anything that's in black to be filled, everything that is a line, or everything in blue to just be a line, so it's just gonna do a quick pass. As far as power and speed settings, I have no idea what I want. One, again, I haven't used this machine very much, and also because we're using this white tile with paint, I don't know what it needs. I think we'll start off a little bit slower. We'll do 50% power, and maybe 1500 for the speed. It's gonna be a major trial and error. So, but yeah, this is what it's gonna do. So we've got, the red is just travel movements because it's gonna go back and forth. All of the black is what's going to be filled in. So it's just gonna outline the hexagon, but all of the individual parts should be filled in, which is exactly what we want. Now, the next thing I need to do, let's quickly group all this. Let's go back up here. Inappropriate. Blue Air. Dude, I know you're a rep. If you say use code inappropriate maker at checkout for 5% off, I know it's all a lie. Blue Hair is a really small filter for their cheapest small unit lineup that works really good for this. The actual replacement filter is only 20 bucks. When we move, I'm ordering one. Like, we're moving in July or July or August. As soon as we move, we will order one. I will, if you pop in on the stream, I will say, hey, send me the link to the one you recommend, and I will place an order for one. Because I really do want it for both allergies as well as, you know, things like this that we're doing. Okay, so I need to measure these tiles so that way I don't have the design larger than the tiles. So these tiles are roughly, looks like 108 by roughly 108. So we'll do, the whole design should not be larger than 105 by 105. Okay. Next, we are going to pop the front door off of this. So let's do that. The easiest way I found to do this is just from the inside, push outward, and these clips will move out. And we are going to power the laser on, but super, super low power. So if I go over to move, and I go to, I think 5% power is the lowest it'll allow me to have it and actually have it turn on. Nope, I'm wrong. 1% power works. So, okay, so we will place this. And we're just trying to get the spot size as small as we can. And that looks pretty dang good. Okay, so next, we'll place this somewhere roughly in the middle. And we are going to run, you know what? I'm gonna be responsible, even if we're just doing it at 1%, because the door's open, I'm gonna put glasses on. Once it's closed, I'll take them off. But because it's open right now, we'll glasses it up. Gotta set good habits or set a good example. Me when people don't use Control A. Okay, so I can hardly even see it. That might be an issue. Okay, so if we hold down the Shift button and we hit the framing command, the laser will stay on 1%. I can't see it. There we go. That looks too big. Did I measure incorrectly? Oh, I did. Okay, I lied. So this needs to be, the biggest side needs to be 105. I thought it was an even, so 105. Okay, there we go. Now let's try it again. Okay, so a little bit further up. There's also probably an easier way to do this if I just use user origin and center it, but did I hit home? Oh, I did, I goofed. All right, we'll let it home one more time. That looks pretty damn good, actually. I think we roll with that. Okay, so next thing we're gonna do is pop the door back on. It's gonna be very close to going off the edge of the tile, but I think we'll be exact. I don't wanna bump this at all. Okay, front door is on. Glasses are off so I can see what I'm doing. And we fire. I didn't even look to see how long it was gonna be, but we'll see. It looks pretty freaking cool. Let me also bring you guys a little bit closer so you can see. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. This will all be better next week once we have the, come on. Cool. Yeah, the only thing I don't know is if the speed, we might need to go slower on the next one because we'll see. Once this is done, I'm gonna get some acetone and try to wipe it off because what we want is for the paint to have a chemical reaction and actually etch itself into the tile. Just got a new spindle and bits for my 3018. The thing is a speed demon now. I know that, oh, I am brain farting. Why am I brain farting? Sorry. Dustin, oh my God. Dustin over in the Discord, who's awesome and a Patreon supporter, has a 3018 that he threw a full-size router on. And that looks pretty freaking cool. That he threw a router onto and then replaced like the tool housing or the tool attachment point in aluminum that he machined on that machine, and he's been doing awesome stuff with his 3018. So the 3018 is definitely a pretty capable platform if you're willing to, you know, mod it or tinker with it. Hey DC, what's going on? We are starting the switchwire build next week, man. So I'm still printing out parts as we speak. I don't know if I'll have everything done, but I will at least have more than enough done to start the build next week, and I'll finish up some of the bigger pieces. Like, I didn't realize the skirts didn't fit on the Voron 0.1, so now I'm like, okay, I want to print it on another printer that I have powder-coated PEI, so that way at least the texture looks the same, because we know that the look of the printer is what's going to allow it to print better. So I'm not sure. I was thinking partially to just build the switch wire, then print out the skirts on it, but I think I'm going to use, I think I'm probably going to use maybe the Ender 3 that I have that's got a Wham Bam PEI flex plate and just throw enclosure on it to print out those parts, so we'll see. I actually have a 3018 SEM. It's in, well, you can't see it, but I have a storage closet that's like right outside of here, and it's in there down below. It's the Fox Alien 3018. We haven't done a whole lot with it. I've engraved some soft woods. I've engraved some acrylic. The reason why I haven't done more stuff with CNC stuff here is because of how quiet this condo is, and upstairs is super sensitive to noise, and so I can't really engrave anything. I mean, I guess midday I could probably get away with some stuff, but I know she works from home and like she's super sensitive, so that's the reason why I haven't done more. When we move later on this year, we're moving into a house, and so then we will absolutely be doing some CNC stuff. I'm very excited to just learn how to use CNC machines and hopefully make some custom like aluminum brackets for 3D printers and things like that. It'll be sick. I'm really looking forward to that. This is looking cool. I don't know how well it's picking up the flickering. Let me see, can I zoom in for you guys a little? It's, yeah, you guys can see. It's looking good. I can send you some. Oh, do you have extra skirts, DC? It's funny because I've been printing out with, I've been printing with the Fusion filament, and I think that some of the ABS I was using before might have been cheating, because the eSun, I don't remember exactly the material I used for the last build, but I think it was 1.75 ABS. So some of it was ABS Plus, and ABS Plus is way easier to print with than true ABS, because I, on the Voron 0.1, spent a lot of time dialing in a profile and letting it heat soak and things like that, and it was still really hit or miss as far as parts warping in corners. And I don't know if part of it's because, like, when I look at the bottom of the heated bed on the Voron 0, there's definitely a gap between, I don't know, it's maybe, it's hard to tell from here, like ½ inch roughly between where the heating pad ends and the bed still continues. So I'm not sure if it's just because like for the bigger parts, the heating on the outside of the bed isn't hitting what it needs to hit or what, but I've opted to, I'm doing brims on most of the parts because I spent quite a bit of time and was like, I've got to get these parts freaking printed out. So my goal is with the switch wire when it's done to spend a lot of time on it and really get it dialed in. So that's a beast ABS machine. So do you have an extra skirt and a leather mini with a side split? I threw mine in my Ender 3 enclosure. It's not too loud. Huh. Yeah, I had considered at one point, because we've got a, let me see if I go to the Sony cam. There's a Nomad up here, which is a pretty beefy CNC machine that's, I mean, huge, huge smooth rods, all aluminum. Like this thing can mill aluminum for sure. And I at one point was debating on building some kind of a soundproof-ish enclosure for it, but if you see it, like it barely fits where it's at. And so to get an enclosure that, you know, has to be bigger than it and encase some foam inside of it, I just decided like, I don't think it's gonna happen. But when we do move, we will definitely be playing around with this on some streams and builds. Yeah, I think that we need to up the power a bit and slow speeds. We'll see. It's like a light gray, not a dark black, which is what I was hoping for. But the main thing I want is for it to actually be having the paint etch into the ceramic tile underneath it. Let's see, I ordered a heat break for Anycubic. Lisa, I thought you said that you wanted a printer that you didn't have to mod, and that was why you went with it. That's cool though. I didn't actually know that for the hot end on the Anycubic that there was a like a bimetal or what did you go with as far as the heat break? Is it bimetal or is it? Check this out actually. So I've been doing, let's see if I go, wait, I wonder how overhead looks for this. It's kind of cool too. So I've been doing some printing on the Ender 3S1 to kind of like get the review going along, and the filament runout sensor worked pretty well. I got to test that out, which has been nice. I've actually ran through some spools recently, which has been on my to-do list, is stop hoarding spools and actually use the filament up. So I ran out of this red filament and swapped it out for, this is the same purple we've used on stream a couple times. It's the Polyterra, I don't know if it's lavender is what it's called, but I think that it looks pretty freaking rad where it ran out and the fingers are just purple. So that turned out great. I posted this one, which also turned out really, really nicely with the same, this was with Matter Hacker's Build Series Red that I've had for a really, really long time. But yeah, overall, I think that this turned out really cool. And then I printed out, so this was a small test piece where it's basically got it's a geared bottom, and you should be able to turn it and have the gears turn. And the issue I had with this is that the tolerances are very, very tight on the bed, and so although when it laid down it looked like it was good, the bottom layer ended up fusing together, and I spent a little bit of time trying to break apart the gears and ended up just deciding, no, we need to redo it. So I printed out a slightly bigger one, and I just adjusted the Z offset, and this one turned out awesome. This one's super cool. So it's like a little storage container. So I think it has like 4 sides or 3 sides to it, and so you can store things inside of it. So it's cool because it's functional too. Like if you're like, hey, I'm gonna keep spare nozzles in one side or whatever. But yeah, this turned out awesome. The Ender 3S1 has been really impressing me. It just works. It's a quiet printer, and it's been working really well. So compared to the Ender 7, I am very happy with the Ender 3S1. I think it's been a solid unit so far. This thing's looking pretty freaking cool, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, I think the next one we'll run it maybe not slower, but we'll up the power from 50% to like 75 and see what that does to the color. Let's see, I feel like I missed some funny stuff. I'll post a pic in the Discord. Cool, that sounds good. Yes, different colors if you need some. We can share so we can match on our middays. Bimetal, it's not that much of a mod, not like I'm changing the hot end. We'll want a hardened nozzle though. Yeah, the only thing is with the heat breaks is just making sure that it's tightened down correctly. I don't know, because I never took apart the hot end other than like the cover on it. I don't know whether it's threaded on top or bottom or whether there's a set screw, but I just saw somebody that posted on Twitter, I think yesterday, it was a Micro Swiss all metal hot end and they had filament leaking from the heat break, and I've used probably 4 or 5 of their hot ends and I've never had a leak. The key thing is just making sure that it's like butted up correctly and that the first time you run it, you heat up the hot end to either max temp or, you know, a hot temp. Like even if I haven't changed firmware and it's capped at like 260, I'll raise it to like 250 or 260 and then retighten the set screw or retighten whatever screws there are, because since the metal expands, if you don't do that, it's like a recipe for a disaster. So yeah, it's not that big of a mod, but just make sure that you seat it correctly. And also, one thing I always recommend is, even though you're getting it right away, and I know you're going to do the mod, like play around with the printer a little bit beforehand, just to make sure it's functioning correctly and that there's no issues prior to it. Because I have seen multiple times a few people that buy a printer, buy mods right away, mod it, and then it's not working correctly. And then when I ask, like, well, how did it print before you did that? They're like, well, I don't know, I just modded it right away. So just make sure you at least do a series of prints on it to make sure everything seems functional on it, because that's super frustrating to do a mod and then not know if the mod caused the problem or if the printer already had some issues prior to that. But yeah, I think that'll be great once you do it. Hey, did you guys see that E3D announced today a drop-in hot end that's for the Creality printers, like Revo style? I didn't see any mention of price. I would love for it to be not $100 and more like $50 or $60. I think that I'm dreaming, but it is cool to have as an option at least. I think that's neat. So now they've got the Revo 6, the Revo Voron edition, the Revo Micro, and then the Revo Creality edition. I don't know exactly what the name of it officially is. You can send some of your hoarding filament my way. Dude, a lot of the filament is really random though, man. Like I have some spools that are no stickers on them and I don't know what they are. I've got a lot of specialty filament from videos I've done that are like nylons and polypropylenes and things like that I can use them for projects, but I typically I'll use it when I have the actual use for it, but I just, in my day-to-day printing, haven't had the actual use for them. I really do like collecting the filaments though and like having them for special projects, because it always seems to me like I have too much filament, but then when I want to do something, like when I was playing around with multi-color printing and I wanted certain colors to complement each other, then I'm like, great, I don't have any filament at all. So it's kind of like one of those things where, you know, you can kind of never have too much, but at the same time, I'm trying to burn through some of these spools I have, because some of these are like 3, 4, 5 years old that just are collecting dust. Like I've got an old spool of glow-in-the-dark PLA or ABS that I bought back in 2016, and there's still a tiny bit left on the spool that I'm like, I need to use this for something, so probably do it soon. Carl announced what I said, I guess, before I announced it. Sorry, Carl. Yeah, E3D announced details for the CR Revo today, which is pretty cool. I do wish that, and I saw someone commented on it, will they release a version for the Ender 7? Because that would be pretty sick, and I would be curious to see if someone makes a drop-in for the Ender 7 with their sort of mounting system, how it would work if I didn't change anything else. So this is not a kit. I'm gonna call you Unk. This is not a kit. It was self-sourced. So it's an open source project called the Engravinator. I think it initially launched back in 2020, and they initially did have some kits. I don't think they sold them directly. I think they sold them through Tindy, if I'm not mistaken. But they don't sell kits anymore. It's basically like they released it, the build files are there, the Gerbil, is it Gerbil? Yeah, no. Yeah, Gerbil files, why am I... What is the name of the files to design a PCB? It's not Gerbil, is it? Or is it? Maybe I'm... No, I think it is Gerbil. I'm brain farting a little bit here, but all the files of everything you need are on there. So like there's links to all the hardware things. You can repurpose things. I mean, it's basically 2020 T-slots, some acrylic panels. These are all from an old 3D printer, all of the motors. Well, all the motors, there's 2 motors. And printed parts, you can use belts you've already got. You can probably jack the smooth rods off of a printer as well. Some LM8U bearings, corner brackets. I did end up sourcing most of it myself, other than the motors. But yeah, a lot of this stuff is stuff you might be able to sort of scrap together. Lived and learned. I did that with my Ender 3 Pro, so I will break that one in before doing anything. Yeah, I'm sure I've done the same thing, Lisa. When I got either the second or third printer that I had, I basically built it, and it was a full kit back then, so it was kind of like building a Voron, if you will. I think the Voron might be a little bit more complex, but the Voron at least has great instructions. So it was like a full kit that took me 8 to 10 hours, and I did do a test print and then instantly started tweaking stuff on it. So I've had to learn that myself too. I think that a lot of people in 3D printing, I mean, not all, because 3D printing is not a one shoe fits all, but a lot of people, especially like that follow the channel or that are into Voron stuff, like, or really any of the printers that I know of, really enjoy modding. And so on a lot of the printers, when I was getting them beforehand, I always looked at them at like, what can I mod? What can I mod right away? But yeah, after experiencing that previously, I also am kind of the same way where I'm like, oh, let's just let it do its thing. I'm hoping that this is done before the pizza gets here so that we don't have to bump the table at all. It's at 70%. Yeah, I think we'll run one more of these. Basically, same exact design. We'll just up the power a bit to 75% just to see what it does in terms of the darkness and if it helps it at all with the sort of chemical reaction we're going for. And then we will do some other stuff. I'm not really in a rush today. Today's stream is, it's gonna be our chill stream before next week where I gotta put my thinking hat back on and hopefully you guys help me because I'm sure that there will be things I get stumped on. Get into 3v2 and put a Revo on it. That's half the price. What did I miss? What did I miss? I'm hoping the new Revo will be drop-in for the CR10S Pro V2. I don't think it will be, Andrew, because if I remember, the Pro has definitely a different hot end, and I don't remember if the mounting points are the same or not. I don't think they are. I know you would definitely have to tweak the fan housing because that's different. But yeah, the CR Max and the Pros definitely have a different hot end setup than the other machines. I think it's primarily going to work for the older machines. So like Ender 3, Ender 3 V2, Ender 3 Pro, Ender 5, Ender 5 Plus, CR10, CR10 V2. I think that's the majority of it. It might even work for, I don't know, I haven't looked at what the CR30 belt printer is using for its hot end, but it might work for that one as well, but don't quote me on it. But yeah, all the newer gen machines that they make, it won't work on, like, at least not drop-in, so it won't work stock on the Ender 7 because it's completely different. It won't work stock on the Surmoon because it's different. Those are the only, oh, and then the Ender 3S1 it obviously won't work on because it's, I'm brain farting on the name of the Ender 3S1's, Carl must know. What's the name of the extruder setup and hot end on the Ender 3S1? It's on the tip of my tongue, I can't remember it. Dude, you posted didn't you post inappropriate the other day that your, was it one of your machines with the Mosquito Magnum that got all jacked up? I feel like it was. I have an almost empty roll of Hatchbox I need to use, but can't think of something. Yeah, I have said before that I'm not really a huge fan of filament runout sensors, but I think I'm changing my theme on that. The way it works on the MK3S Plus is beautiful. How it basically stops, goes over, keeps everything warm, purges it a little bit, lets you pull it, and then... Is it Lisa? I heard pizza. Lisa. Oh, puppy treats this week. You already ordered pizza. Thank you very much, Lisa, for the $10 tip. Actually, man, it's kind of, it's unfortunate news. So if you guys were here, let me go to this cam. So if you guys were here, it was either last Wednesday or the Wednesday before stream where Delilah, I had to stop the stream midstream because she was like crying at the door and I took her outside. Well, she took a turn for the worse last week. I think it was last Wednesday that it happened on stream. Thursday night, she was doing really bad and was up all night long crying, and I had to take her out every like 2 seconds. And so Friday, we had to take her to the hospital, and now she's on like this insane concoction of 3 pills a day for a skin infection, for her digestion, another one for her digestion, and she's on like this insanely expensive prescription diet. But the vet did say she wants her on it for 30 days, and then after that, I can wean her onto still like a better food than she's been being fed, although I don't feed her bad food. But it has to be more of like a sensitive stomach diet, and so we're hoping that this does the trick. She's definitely doing better since I took her in on Saturday. And yeah, if she doesn't get better, then the next step the vet said would be to do an x-ray, which I'm not super excited about, but we'll see. I'm hoping, again, she's doing better right now, but yeah, after the stream last Wednesday or the Wednesday before, she has not been doing good. And she's getting older. She's like she just crossed, I think, the 10-year mark, and she's a lab pit bull. So she's definitely not a young pupper, but yeah, that was unfortunate. And that was like pretty much a huge chunk of the weekend was taking care of her, and Aaron took off work on Friday and was able to help out with that. But yeah, I guess what I was getting at, Lisa, was that I can't give her any treats, unfortunately, but Monkey can have treats, and he loves, that dude is a food fiend. Every day, I've been giving her medicine with peanut butter, and afterwards, he runs up to me, and he was like, can I please have the leftover peanut butter? So he's been eating a lot of peanut butter. Let's see. Sprite, okay. Sprite is what it's called. Thank you. It's such an easy thing to remember. I don't know why I couldn't remember. The heater core is tweaked to not need firmware adjustments. Wondering if that kills performance in some way. Oh man, Silver Sun Beam, $10 tip for the Doggo Care Fund. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I also don't know if I've seen you around here before. Thanks for stopping by the stream, and thank you for the donation. Yeah, it sucks. Delilah is my first pet. Like, we had a family dog growing up that passed when I was young, and then we had 2 cats that lived to be like 16 and 17. That, if you watch my old videos, Sabrina was our big Maine Coon. She was in every video almost in the background, and people would comment when they spotted her. And she lived to be quite old, but Delilah is the first like pet I've had, other than Fish, that is like my pet that I've had for 10 years now. I actually got her when I was working at PetSmart. A family had found a box of puppies that someone had abandoned, and there was 2 left, and I took one, and someone else took one. So she's been by my side for a long time. So it's definitely not, it's not fun seeing your furry family member not doing good. So I appreciate it. Thank you. It looks like we're getting close to being done. It should be running the outline in just a moment here. How would the Sprite, so Chikaro, you said the Sprite needs an adapter for Revo. How would they do that though? Like they would either require a completely custom Sprite or, right? because the heater block is in, no, I'm wrong. So the heater block is a separate thing on it that basically hangs on by a spring, and the nozzle goes through the heater block into the heatsink. So you would need a custom heatsink for the Sprite, or E3D would have to manufacture a custom thread on it. I haven't actually taken apart the Sprite. I don't know. I know I saw a video. Do we know if on the Sprite that the top portion of the heat break, is it smooth and held in by a set screw, or is it threaded into the heatsink? That I don't know. Okay, so outline definitely needs to slow down. Okay, let's take this off for now. Zoom out a little bit. I mean, I gotta say, for this being like the first real engraving I've done on it, I'm not upset. Like, that looks pretty good, man. The only thing is, though, again, prior to this live stream, I took these tiles and I applied a thin coat of spray paint and some acetone to basically make sure there was no dust or debris. And so what I'm gonna do now is apply some acetone to this, and if it burned correctly, the paint, the areas that have not been etched should all wipe off, and then all of the dark areas should be like in the tile itself. So we're gonna try that. We've got 7 minutes till pizza is supposed to be here. If the pizza comes while we're doing this, I'm gonna have to yell at the guy like, hey, can you leave it on the ground? Let me see if, 1 second here. Okay. Oh, that's pizza. 1 second. Hey, go relax. It's okay, go relax. Hi.
Hi.
Sorry. The dogs are
Yeah, I know.
crazy. Oops, sorry about that. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Hey. Didn't even get a chance to take the mic off. Monkey tried to run out. You crazy kid. All right, well, pizza's here. I'm gonna wait a minute because I want to mess with the acetone first. But for Eggy, he says Hawaiian pizza is not a pizza, but it is indeed a pizza. So I'm excited. We will definitely chow. I think once we get the next engraving going, I'll take a slice. For now, the Ender 7 makes for a perfect pizza holder. They were a little bit early. I feel bad every time the pizza guy comes because Delilah sounds crazy, huh? She's a friendly dog. She sounds psycho. Okay, I'm behind chat. Heatsink, smooth. Okay, gotcha. So it is smooth. So they would definitely, need something different, like a different heatsink then to accept it, because the Revo would need a thread to basically take it on the top side. Much love to your puppy. Definitely know the fear there. My dog is getting up there in age. He'll be 13 this year, to where I'm prepared for things to happen, but don't want them to use my first dog. Yeah, that's how I feel too. I mean, the one thing, Delilah, hey, the one thing I will say is, like, when I got her, she was in really bad shape, and I am thankful that I was able to take her in, and, you know, she's had a pretty good 10 years of life, I think, so far. And so it's like, in the back of my mind, I know, like, you know, you want pizza, don't you, dude? You know, in the back of my mind, I know, like, she's getting older, but it still sucks. And, like, I think I've always been in life able to deal with unfortunate things pretty well, I think. I don't know, like, I understand, like, there's good and bad that happens in life, and it's a part of it. I think that some of it, though, is, like, it's frustrating not knowing, like, I was talking to a coworker, actually, and with pets, like, it's frustrating, like, knowing something's wrong, but not knowing what it is. And, like, your dog obviously can't tell you, like, hey, my stomach really hurts, or hey, this is what's going on. And so it's frustrating, like, trying to help somebody or something and not knowing what to do. And then, like, even when I went to the vet, you know, the vet basically checked her out, was like, okay, like, yeah, she's got stomach problems. It can be, and she listed, like, 10 different things, you know, from just this simple thing to parasites to cancer, like, and so it's just like like I think that's the hard part for me, is just not knowing. Like, I can deal with the truth. It's just not knowing what that is that makes it a bit difficult. You guys gotta see this guy. Like, this dude's ready. This dude's ready for pizza. Do you like pizza, monkey? Do you like pizza, Bubba? Look at his tail. Monkey, you like pizza? This dude, he's a food fiend. And then Delilah, look at this. We're gonna take the acetone off of this in a second, but she just looks like a little angel. Delilah, can you say hi? Pretty girl, over here. Hello. Yeah, she's the sweetest thing. Monkey is a psycho. Okay, so let's do the acetone thing. That's what I was thinking. Custom heatsink to use Revo nozzle and heater. I'll tell you what, Chikaro, if somebody that already has the manufacturing capabilities, like offhand, I mean, I'm thinking like Micro Swiss makes a lot of drop-in things. If Micro Swiss makes something like you know, they can accept. The only issue I can picture is that I don't know what the level of the patent stuff is with E3D and Revo, whether they would allow you to make a heatsink that can accept their nozzles or not. I don't know. So, okay. Hey, can you go relax? I'm gonna bring out acetone. I don't want you next to me because it's not good for puppies. Come on, you gotta go relax. Come on. Can you go lay down in your bed? Delilah, you too, you gotta lay in your bed. I don't want puppies in here. Acetone is not good for sensitive noses. Okay, thank you. Another thing I'm looking forward to is having a separate space to work on things for the sake of the puppers, because I feel bad. They shouldn't be around, you know, some of this stuff. Okay, so we're gonna acetone. I will put on a glove for the hand that will be near the acetone. Handy dandy glove. Let's do an overhead for a second here. Cold side is open source. Oh, sick. Nice. Okay, so yeah, then someone totally could do it. Yeah, that would be amazing. That would be very, very cool. Because, yeah, if you could swap out the heatsink and you have a Revo, then it would also be all metal. Yeah, that would be sick. That would be amazing. It wouldn't actually be a bad idea for Creality to just release that themselves, but I don't know if they will. Okay, popping open the acetone. Only using the glove hand for the acetone. So we are going to just pour some on the center of it. It's quite a bit. And then I'm gonna let it sit for a second here, just to kind of soak in. And then I'm going to take, probably should have a glove on the second hand too, because I'm thinking, how am I gonna grab it? I'll grab it like this. Oh no. Okay, so we definitely need to go slower, but some of it did etch in. I still need to do a lot more, but you can see, let me see if the light reflects. There. So the area that's glossy, like corners I haven't done yet, but the center that's glossy, that is actually etched into their tile. So still, you can see where all the paint is still on the outer skirts of it, but I'm at least happy that some of it did go into the tile. We're gonna need a lot more acetone. I might not fully clear this one right now, because this at least gives me a general idea of how dark it's going to be. Let's do a little bit more in the center. I don't think I'll do the edges right now. We'll just get the second one started with slightly different settings. Yeah, and then the outer line disappeared completely, so that was too quick of a pass, which I kind of saw. But hey, it did go into the tile though, so I still think that's pretty freaking rad. But yeah, we'll run it again right now. I'll drop the speed. Here we'll increase the power from 50% to 75%, and we'll see what the color difference is. But I still think that's pretty freaking rad. I'm Regardless, going to get this cleaned up, throw a back padding on it, and we'll use it for the stream next week. An official, an unofficial official boron coaster for when we build. Okay, so let's grab one more tile. Take these gloves off. Pop the front panel off. Just throw it on top for now, I guess. Glasses back on while we do this. I'm gonna screen share in a second too, just when I change the settings, so that way we can see it all. Okay, so a little bit. The mouse is so hard to see with these glasses on. Okay, so definitely further to the left. I think a hair to the right. That looks pretty damn good to me. Okay, let's slap the door on really quick again. I may end up going for the door long term because, well, we'll see, because I'm not going to be having to take it off to align once I, let's let me put weight downward so it doesn't slide. Once I have the camera in here, I won't have to constantly take it off other than to set the focal distance for a different height material. But I might put magnets on the front door, so that way it's just a magnetic panel versus clips. But I don't know, the clips aren't that bad. Okay, so heading back over to desktop, the current settings that we had were, for the speed, 1500 millimeters a minute and 50% power. So for the fill, we will up that to 75% power. And we will drop the speed, let's just do like, let's do 1250. 1250. And then for the line, that was way too quick. We'll drop that down to, well, if we're doing that for that, then the line we'll do even slower. We'll do the line at 1000 millimeters a minute. And we'll do, I almost want to just max out the power. We'll do 95% because I want that outline to be dark. Okay. All right, let's let it rip. It's definitely looking darker. I am quite happy though, I'm not gonna lie, with this. Even with this sort of light look, you can still see all the parts, the details, the little Voron logo. You can't quite see it, but you can almost see the Voron text on that tiny part right there, which is pretty awesome. Yeah, I feel like, so in my last place, I had so Joel just did a video recently on the Repcord like filament storage solution. And Joel had made a video maybe like a year or two ago on sort of, I don't remember if it was similar, but kind of similar, where basically it used some very simple wood pieces that you can get from just about any hardware store. I think they were like 1x2s or something like that. And I had a double-decker wall rack, and that did a really good job of holding filament. And ideally, I'd like to do something like that again. I just think that, you know, you only have so much square footage, but walls, like a lot of walls don't get utilized. Although here, there's not exactly a lot of wall space. The only reason why I haven't done it here is because we rent, oh man, it's way darker. Ooh, this one might be really good. We rent from a super sweet husband and wife, and I know that like I can patch it and all that, but since we're only here for a few more months, I haven't been able to justify putting a bunch of holes in their wall, because with the filament holder, they were pretty gnarly holes. Like each part took at least 3 to 4 screws, if I remember correctly, all with pretty beefy anchors. And so I'm just like, we'll wait it out. And that part's looking way darker. I will definitely need to save these settings if they end up looking really good. Once this one's done, we will take a look at the camera jib that has been put together. There will be a full video on that as well, but I want to show you guys sort of the progress that's been made on it because it's freaking awesome. And then we can grab the belt printer too and play around with it a bit. Erin works a weird shift today, so she doesn't get home till pretty late. So there's a lot of time for shenanigans. I'm gonna grab a plate. While this is engraving, I'm going to grab a plate so I can have a piece of delicious pizza. Also, my dad raised me on pizza has to have crushed red peppers, man. If you don't have crushed red peppers, then it's, I don't know. It's just, I love crushed red peppers on pizza. One second, I don't want to drop pizza on the ender. For the switchwire build that we're starting next week, I'm going to try to get that scheduled sometime by end of day today, just so that way anybody that wants to can set, we'll start with one slice. That way anyone that wants to can set a reminder and be here for that, because that's going to be a super fun stream. I'm very much so looking forward to it. Peppers. This engraver is super cool. I mean, I would say, like, if there's a downside that I could think of, it's that the size on it. So I see some slight areas where it's a little bit lighter. Oh, you know what? That's probably, hey, I know, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. So, monkey, I know, I heard, it's probably Amazon. I think that's the parts that I ordered for the camera jib. I'm gonna eat my pizza. If it's too loud, let me know and I will gladly mute the mic for you guys. Yeah, I think that's the parts that I forgot for the build. It should be M6 by 25 screws and then 3mm pins I need to cut with a Dremel. I've only used the regular cutting discs with a Dremel, but I had to go to Harbor Freight to get some bolts. So I forgot all the M6 bolts for this build, right? And Home Depot sells them for like 80 cents a piece, which is insane. But Harbor Freight had this, which is pretty awesome. It is 50 M6 nuts plus a ton of other hardware for like $6. So I was bummed initially because I was like, man, I can't justify like 80 cents a bolt and I need, like a ton of them. And then I saw those at Harbor Freight, which is awesome. But when I was at Harbor Freight, because it's like a candy store, I saw these. They look dangerous, but they're for a Dremel and they're like little, I think they're steel. Rotary saw, ideal for cutting wood, aluminum, brass, copper, and more. High-speed steel blade. Yeah, I've only used the regular cutting disc, but I need to do some cutting and I'm thinking about trying these out. But I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit scared. They just look aggressive and it's a Dremel. Has anyone used anything like that before? Oh, I think what I was saying, man, brain fart. I think the only thing I was saying is that if there's a downside to this engraver, it would be size. Like, it's small, right? It's 130 millimeter by 130 millimeter engraving area. For me though, that's totally fine for doing small projects like this. And, oh man, it looks so good. For doing small projects like this, it's totally fine. And again, you can also move it around, and there's certain tools that they have within software like Lightburn where you can sort of match it up. So if you do a part of the engraving and need to move the machine, you can align things. And then also if you add a camera to it, it's even cooler because it makes alignment much easier. But yeah, I think if there's a downside, it would be size. But the fact that it's fully enclosed is incredibly attractive to me. And I know you can build an enclosure for the bigger engravers, and we have the bigger engravers here, but it's more of a bulky thing and it's not nearly as mobile. And I like the fact that it's got, again, a built-in carbon filter on the back is awesome. It might not be perfect, and it's definitely not the brand that Inappropriate Maker is sponsored by, but it's definitely better than nothing, and it helps a ton with the smoke and the odor. I've been wanting to get the Crowdy laser for a while. So one thing I will say is that although you can definitely add a laser engraver to a Crowdy or any 3D printer, the thing I like about this is that it's running Gerbil, which Gerbil, in my opinion, although Gerbil also is used for CNC machines, and I think that's where it actually originated from, I feel that it's a better firmware for laser engravers than Marlin firmware is. It's much easier to configure. You can adjust settings from the terminal very easily. So that's one thing too, is I just don't feel, I think that if you just kind of sort of want to play around with the laser, that it's not a bad way to go that route, because if you confirm that the Crowdy laser has basically 12 volt ground and then PWM, you can actually use that laser with this machine. So that could be cool. Still, use it with the Crowdy printer first, and then if you decide, hey, no, I like it, I want a standalone thing, then you can source the rest of the parts for this. And I like that it incorporates so much 3D printing. I got into 3D printing to do projects and have spent most of my time 3D printing 3D printer things, which is totally fine and I really enjoy it. But being able to make other machines using so many different 3D printed parts is incredibly exciting to me. So I like that element as well. When people are like, hey, what can you make with a 3D printer? I'm like, well, this laser engraver or that turntable up there, like, it's just cool having these things to show off. With the CR10 Inappropriate, would you basically just self-source a switch wire but take the parts you can from it, or would you do some kind of a like hybrid switch wire conversion? Because I know I've seen like Ender 3 to switch wire conversions. I just don't know how much of it is just like throwing on linear rails in a mini or like not a mini afterburner, but like an afterburner, or is it pretty much doing the full build? You're just using smaller, what am I thinking? Smaller extrusions, like for some of the parts. Is there an Instagram for the channel? Not really. I have an Instagram, Modbot Army, which I guess is the Instagram for the channel, but it's my personal Instagram. Like, I've never switched the two up, but my life is this. So other than like, seeing an occasional photo of like me and Aaron or like the dogs, it is like printed stuff and things like that. I'm not nearly as active on it. I'm not a big fan of Facebook or Instagram. I like Instagram more than Facebook, but I don't post nearly as often as I probably should or would like. But yeah, I do have one. Yeah, this is looking good. I'm excited to see how this turns out. G-Funny says, yes, wear a face shield. Okay. Do I have a face shield? I might go with the regular rotary discs because what I'm cutting is just, I'll grab them in a minute, but I think they're just 3mm stainless steel pins. And so I think that's probably overkill. I just saw them and was like, this seems cool. Harbor Freight stuff is scary. Blast you. Harbor Freight's worked out pretty well for me. Like, I wouldn't say that, I think everyone knows that their tools are not like craftsman level tools, but for like, hey, I'm only going to use this thing like once or twice, the tools are pretty okay for that kind of stuff. My corded drill has been a Harbor Freight drill, and I've used it for years, and it's worked fine. Okay, we are at 41%. My CR10 is already on MGN12. I can make adapters from their step files, I hope. Gotcha. So you really would be using as much of it as possible, but then reusing things like your PSU, your extrusions, the bed. Would you be reusing the bed or no? I live in Southern California, Blake. Orange County region. For 4 or 5 more months. We're leaving. We're moving to Idaho in July or August. Well, that's where I currently live. We moved out here for work, which I work fully remote now. So, where do you live? Is it? Yeah, it's 1:20 in the afternoon here. Hey, Kenny's here. Yeah, we finished up the laser engraver, man. So today's just laid back day. Once this engraving's done, we're gonna take a look at some other stuff. But yeah, the machine's working great. I spent some time between last week and this week to clean up the wire management, print out some of the T-slot covers for the wires to be routed through, and then I also replaced the steppers from the 2100s that were defective, partially because of me. I'll take partial responsibility, with 2208s, and they're running great. It's also a very, very quiet machine. I'm pretty sure it's running in Stealth Chop too. I'm almost positive it is, which would explain why the motors are making like no noise. Yeah, I really like the lasering of tiles, Carl, more than I thought that I would. Especially because they just they make for really cool coasters. I have probably another 80 of these square ones, and then I bought I think 20 or so round ones, and so I'm thinking on just making custom coasters for everybody at our wedding, because we're having a really small wedding. That it could be a cool like personal, you know, like personal thing to have at the table, and everyone can take one home. What you said? Okay, gotcha. So as far as the CR10, then the only things you're really reusing are the aluminum extrusions and the power supply, then, right? Or are you going to reuse the board? You might reuse the board then, right? And just basically throw a pie on it and flash it with clipper. I'm gonna grab the package real quick. Hey, relax. What the heck is this? Oh, sick. Dude, this is not what I thought it was, and I am super not disappointed. Rad. Check this out. Oh. Yeah, way bigger box than I was expecting. I was like, that's not my bolts. Dude, it's a, it's the rollers for the SainSmart Infi 20 that's right here. I had no idea that they were, one, sending these, and two, that they were sending them separate. So, I hadn't planned on printing anything that would require these, but I guess now I'll have to print something huge. I was thinking like the other day I was trying to think about large things I could print, right? And I've seen a lot of people print out like cosplay swords, and I saw one guy that printed out crown molding that was I thought very cool. But like I couldn't really think of anything that long that I would need that's, I don't know. If anyone has ideas for long things to print, let me know. Oh, board and PS2 are chat. So it's not as much of a conversion as it is like you're building a switch wire. Hey, Dustin's here. I was just talking about your 3018 a little bit ago, because somebody in here, man, I'm terrible. I'm just absolutely the worst with names, and I feel terrible. What was that for? I'm scrolling up. Sem has a 3018 and was saying that it would be fun to play around, or like to play around one on stream, and I kind of explained that the reason why I don't is, because of how sensitive my neighbors are here. And then I mentioned to you, I said, Dustin's got a 3018 that he strapped a full-size router to and replaced the mounting system with aluminum now. Thing is insane. I was starting to put the Einzy Rambo board. The holders broke. Need to reprint. Huh. The oh, my Prusa is way over there. On the Einzy Rambo board for the MK3S Plus, Lisa, did they have you threading directly into the printed part, or is there square nuts that drop into slots? Yeah, I got the ping and put up some images. Oh, sick. Okay, cool. Yeah, that 3018 that you have is like, it's like the freaking Hulk. It's like the Hulk of the 3018s. Yeah, we're printing out a second one of these tiles, or printing. I'm so used to printing. We are engraving one of these Voron tiles for starting the switchwire build next week, and this was the first one. And the second one, we're running the exact same thing, but just with 75% instead of 50% power. And it's pretty cool with this like white tile method. You apply a couple of coats of white paint, and the diode laser, which normally wouldn't be able to engrave into ceramic, it has a chemical reaction, which I believe is just caused by the direct heat with the paint, and it actually does burn or etch itself into the tile. And so afterwards, you take some acetone, wipe off the paint from all the areas that weren't etched, and it's a pretty strong, like, I mean, you could take a tool to it and the stuff isn't coming off. You can hear it like in the tile. So yeah, we're doing the same exact engraving, but there's this time a little bit slower to hopefully have the engraving be a little bit darker. And it's looking way darker. It will lighten up a bit once I throw acetone on it and remove it, but it's definitely looking much darker than this one. I think we got the settings looking pretty good. I'm on a new hacky thing today. I'm watching you on Android, Windows 11 with the plate. I'm watching you on Android in Windows 11 with the Play Store installed. Oh my God. Was it more just for fun, or was there a specific tool that you needed on the Android side of things, which is why you did that? What is Android? Are you running it through, is it a virtual machine? Looking pretty good. See on the top right where I probably didn't have quite as much paint. It was a very quick setup job for the paint. I don't have any sacrificial acrylic, but I really want to get the acrylic profile dialed in for this, so that way I can engrave the Voron 0.1 acrylic side. Like the first one that we built that is Modbot themed, like the colors and the robot, I really want to engrave the robot on the side of it, but I don't want to use my good panel to test out the speed and power settings on it. Let's see, Lisa, square nuts and hex nuts. Was getting square nuts in and heard a crack. Whenever finishing this printer, would like it done soon. Well, based off the photos I saw, it looks like you've got a lot of it assembled. And I'm hoping that with this printer, you're able to, like, at some point print out parts for it for certain areas where, like, hey, well, like, kind of my plan is with the switch wire, because the parts look okay. They're not as clean as I would like. Like, the bottom against the bed looks great, but some of the layer lines are just a little bit And I was trying to dial in the top layers, and on some parts they look quite smooth, some parts look quite rough. So I'm planning on possibly, when the switch wire is done and I get it dialed in for ABS, starting to reprint some of its parts for itself. Yeah. So that's kind of my game plan. It's the new Amazon store. Oh. The new Amazon store. So I wanted to see how easy it was to sideload it all into it. It does use virtualization, but the apps all open as their own window. Interesting. When did Amazon release that? Got a zero flute? What is a zero? What is a zero flute good for? Straight flute end mills with straight flutes are single-ended. They're used, oh, plastic. Oh, so that's what you're, oh, you're saying get a zero flute. Gotcha. My only thing is, I mean, I guess the router is not nearly as loud, or not the router, I don't have a router, but the spindle is not nearly as loud for acrylic than cutting something harder, but I still don't know about doing any engraving in here. Or not engraving, we're engraving right now. Doing any milling in here, really. Interesting. Because I know that one of the big issues with engraving acrylic, because I've done a little bit of it, is that if you don't have the right end mill and you don't have the right settings, you can really melt it, and also you can melt it and have it gunk up around the end mill and then either destroy the part or destroy the end mill. I've seen it happen before. Okay, it's in preview. I need to print the lactable parts, then I can try ABS and that. Yeah, the lactable parts shouldn't be nearly as hard to print. Are you gonna do PLA for those, Lisa, or are you gonna do PTG? I think I did all of mine in PTG. I did. I bought a 3-pack of pretty inexpensive Amazon PETG. What was the company called? There was like a steal of a deal on it where I think it was like 3 PTG. I think it was like 3 PETG rolls for 40 bucks when I bought them. Oh wait, I don't want Amazon Music. Okay, let's see, orders. PET, I don't know why the name is also slipped my mind, my brain. Huh, when I search PETG, it brings up a bunch of pet stuff. PETG filament. No results found. It must be because there's not supposed to be a dash. There we go. So yeah, I bought Overture is what it was on November. I bought it twice actually. No. I did Amazon Basics once and Overture once. All the same year. They must have all been for lactables, but yeah, there was a 3-pack of PTG and Amazon Basics for $43.93 with tax, which to me was like an insane deal. And then the Overture I got for $32.76 is what I paid for it. 3 spools of Overture PTG 1 kilogram and their little, like their BuildTak knockoff stuff they threw in as a gift. That was a crazy deal. I won't say that it was the best PTG I've ever used, but for the lac enclosure, it wasn't an enclosure, I guess, but for the lac like levelers or the risers, I guess you'd call them, I needed so much filament and I didn't really care that, I just didn't care that it was super high quality filament. I just needed to be functional. And so I ordered it and was pleasantly surprised. But yeah, that was a, God, that was a great deal. Basically $10.75 per kilogram. It's way messier. The acrylic static sticks to everything. Oh. Yeah, I could see that. Especially when you peel off the cover. Because would there ever be a reason you'd want to leave the cover on when you're milling out acrylic, or no? I'm trying to think. I wouldn't imagine so. Wait. Well, because, yeah, I know when they laser cut acrylic, like at factories, they typically send it with the cover on still. So they do cut it with the cover on to prevent scratching during shipping. Okay, cool. PTG for lactable. Yeah. I want to print. My concern with TPU for the car, Lisa, is that TPU has a super low melting temp. It's like PLA levels, if not less than PLA in some instances, although there is high temp TPU. But TPU is already so soft that what I don't know is what, like it might get softer, but I don't know how hot it would have to get for it to actually deform it from its like printed state. That'd be like that'd be kind of an interesting test actually. Because TPU is already so soft and it prints it, I've printed it I think as low as like 195 depending on the machine. I just wonder how it will hold up with heat. I don't know, I don't really know. I mean, it's not gonna like PLA, when PLA warps, it's obvious because PLA is such a stiff or, you know, rigid material, while TPU being already that it's so soft, I just wonder how it would actually, like what would happen, I don't know. You wanna go faster to keep it from melting, and you can use a spray bottle and just what, oh, that makes sense. Add like a little bit of lubricant essentially to it. Overture matte? Oh, I didn't even know they had a matte filament. I'm shocked that there's not more matte. Oh, cool. That's sick. I don't know why there's not more matte filaments. As much as I don't mind gloss really at all, there's a lot of people I've talked to that feel that like glossy plastic kind of gives it this appearance of cheap. Like a cheap plastic, while matte looks like more of a quality part. And I mean, it's just personal preference really, but with how many times I've heard that over the years, I'm surprised that matte isn't more of a standard that most companies have as like at least an optional line. Polyterra is a pretty matte, where do I have? Yeah, Polyterra is pretty matte in comparison. So like, look at, I think I'm too close. Let's go overhead really quick. So this is Matter Hackers Build Series PLA, and this is Polyterra. And I think you can probably see the way the light really reflects off of the red, but the fingertips not so much. It's just there's definitely still some reflection. Like I don't want to say it's fully matte, but it's definitely less reflective of a surface and more, maybe satin is like more what it would be. So it's kind of like an in-between. But I do like that about Polyterra is that it's not quite as reflective of a material. I really like this freaking hand, man. It's, it's just creepy looking with the purple fingertips. Yeah, the same on when you use aluminum on a table saw. You just use water on the table saw? So I know I've heard of people using WD-40. That might not be right. As a kind of a lubricant. The armchair cubby in my car, the bottom is slightly larger than the top, so even though I measured the ABS part. Gotcha. Yeah, give it a go. I mean, if it's got like a cubby, it's sort of gonna sit inside, it might be fine even if it gets warm. I just don't know at what temperature a TPU part would deform, because TPU deforms very easily, right? Like any pressure you apply to it, but then it returns back. I don't know at what temperature it would deform to the point where it doesn't return back to its printed state. Yeah, the hand's really cool. It's, Aaron knows movies way better than me, but it's the hand from the Addams Family. Not full size, I scaled it down a bit, but I was telling her it'd be cool to print one out in a bigger size and have it as like a Halloween decoration moving forward. But even this one's just really cool, and there's a lot of details in like the hand. There's a lot. I heard. Says, oh wow, $20 tip from Anonymous. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much, whoever Anonymous is. Oh, sick! It's finished. So they say, oh yeah. Yeah, thank you, whoever Anonymous is. I appreciate it. It's definitely going towards more awesome projects and stream things. So this is now done. Let's go. Thing. Okay, thank you. Aaron Aaron is a huge movie buff, right? Like, I like movies, don't get me wrong, but my brain just does not work the same way. Like, I can watch a movie and instantly forget a lot of things about it and rewatch it again and be like, oh yeah, that's right. Well, Erin, she watches movies a lot more than me, first off. But she also remembers, like, her and her family are big on quoting movies. And like every time I go over there, like someone will say something and they'll be laughing and I'm like, it's over my head. But I'm trying to get better at it. She's definitely introduced me to a lot of movies that I've never watched. And I think part of it might be that, like, since my mom is from Sweden and like she didn't grow up with a lot of, like, I guess, I don't know if they'd be considered American classics or whatnot. And then I just didn't grow up with a lot of movies that she grew up with. And so like she showed me a ton of movies that are like from the 90s and some even like older that are amazing I've never watched. Like the one that comes to mind right now is a fish named Wanda, or A Fish Called Wanda. I'd never watched that before. That is a really solid movie. I don't think I'd watched The Big Lebowski before, and I love the Big Lebowski now. Like there's just a lot of movies I missed out on. Okay, so this is looking, so we can compare. This is the one that we previously engraved. Nope, there we go. This is the one that we previously engraved. Oh, it was from Dustin. Dustin, thank you very much for the donation. Yeah, if it, I kind of wish that it didn't just default to anonymous, like that it, I don't know, or that it was a little bit more difficult to accidentally click anonymous, because I think that that's the second time I've seen that happen. But thank you very much, Dustin. I really appreciate it. So this is the one that we've already thrown acetone on, and this is the one fresh off the printer. So it's much darker now. Once we put the acetone on it, I'm sure it will lighten up, but I just want to have a basis between what it looks like before and kind of after. So let's get some acetone and clean this one up. If this one looks better, then I think that this is one we will, I want to give away one of these. I think it'd be cool. Like, we're going to be doing giveaways for 3D printer things, but I think that this might be a cool thing to give away. Just as like something, I don't know, something we did on stream. I'm going to throw a cork backing on it if it looks good, so that way it can be like an actual solid coaster, but I think it could be cool for someone's like workshop or desk. Okay, so let's throw... now it's, wait, what? I printed the hand and put it under a bowl sticking out of the garbage disposal. That's freaking awesome. Now that's my watch holder. That's sick. Yeah, there's a funny video, at least I think it's funny. Watch, let me see if you guys see, let's see if I go, we'll come back to the acetone situation in a second here. So if we go to YouTube and we go to just regular Modbot, not the army. For anyone that hasn't seen this, I used to try to do occasional skits. I think my head might bring it up. Yes. So this was back in 2018 when I was renting a room out of my buddy's house, and I had to record outside because there was like no lighting in my room, and they had two children, and so it was quite loud inside. So this little table outside, it had really good natural lighting, and I started recording out here. But this was when I scanned my head and printed it out, and I tried to do it as close to life size as possible, which I've got a big head, and it clearly didn't exactly go life size. And we also had, I think, a brownout. This area where I lived at is, G-Funny, you probably know the area, but it's like towards Mockingbird Canyon and Riverside area is where I lived at before, and the houses are older, and so electrical is a lot more spotty. And so when this finished, I brought it to work, which at the time I was working at Matter Hackers, and like pranked so many people with it. I put it in the fridge at lunchtime. I would put it in random people's desk drawers. I don't know where it's at right now, but in this video, let me see.
Because then it'll be, I think, even a little creepier, and will be perfect for pranks. So we're gonna.
Where is the? One second. I won't spend. Oh, here we go. So yeah, Aaron. This was Aaron's first time showing up on the channel.
Oh, I'm so glad to finally be home, babe.
Wait, can you guys? I think if I mute the music, you guys can hear it really quick. Hold on. Maybe not. It might not be loud enough, but I'm gonna try it.
Oh, I'm so glad to finally be home, babe. Hey.
Our acting is absolutely perfect.
Anything for dinner? Babe?
Yeah,
Anyways,
that was a ton of fun.
I was printed on
I haven't done any like silly skits in quite a long time. I don't know really why, but I did have a lot of fun doing those back in the day. Anyways, there's a couple other skits on the channel. I don't know. It was just something I wanted to try out and change up. And I still think that I may at some point in the future incorporate some sort of skits again, just because it's kind of a fun, like different creative element I get to put into it, and I find them silly. I don't know. So, all right, let's go ahead and we've got our glove hand. We're gonna pour some acetone. Oop. That was a lot, but it's probably perfect. Let it sit for a minute. Yeah, Fish Called Wanda is really good. I'm pretty sure it's a Fish Called Wanda where there's like the dude that goes, asshole, or something like that. Aaron and me always do that now. Yeah, Fish Called Wanda is a really solid movie. All right, let's not breathe in all the acetone fumes. Yeah, silly skits are fun. I had a bunch of ideas for like silly projects at different times, like incorporating the dogs and things like that. And I just didn't end up doing them, but they're still on my list of potential ideas to do one day. So we'll see. Who knows? Maybe they'll go on this channel if they don't go on the other channel. Okay, we've let it sit for a minute. Let's see how light it gets. Okay, definitely way darker. So it's absolutely lightening up a bit, but it is way darker than the, watch just as a comparison still. This is after starting to remove. These settings we've got for this is way better for this diode. Should probably move the peppers out of here. I like this song. I don't know what this is, but it's like, it's fun. Don't put my fingers on it. Okay, so there's a tiny bit of paint. It's almost cleared off. That tile turned out really nice. Ah. Okay, that was a waste of, that was a lot of acetone. All right. I should have put two gloves on. I should have put two gloves on. Yeah, it's, I think all the paint's off. That is in the tile. Sweet. Yeah, that looks freaking awesome. So there's a little section like right here, it's a tiny bit lighter and a little bit up on the top, but overall, I mean, I think that looks freaking awesome. Let me see if I've got, let me see if I have got the cork to throw on it. Yes, I do. I finally get to open these. Yeah, I bought these cork backings that already have adhesive on them, so. I'm gonna hit my head. Oh, cool. They're a little bit smaller. Let me actually wipe down the back of this tile really quick with some more acetone. Oh, that's not a bad idea either, Dustin. I guess my concern was that if I ran the laser on 100% all the time, that it could shorten the life of it. I've never burnt out a laser, but that's been my concern in my head, is that, like, at least on the CO2 laser, when I had the K40, like, I never wanted to max it out. But that would be a simpler way, is just have one, to just have one setting to have to configure. Pretty freaking cool. There you go. That's awesome. For this, have you done this method though, Dustin? Because with this method, it basically, the paint does burn into the tile. Like the laser itself doesn't, but something about the heat, and I believe the paint has a chemical reaction with it, and so it's in there. Like if you took I'm pretty sure if I took a paint scraper to this, like I wouldn't be able to scrape this off. I mean, if I put my arm into it as hard as I could, then I'm sure. But like it's really strong if you do it this way, which is basically I acetoned it, painted it white with just a light coat of white spray paint, then engraved it, and then used as you saw, like some more acetone to remove the paint areas that weren't engraved. So I like kind of want to do a giveaway for this tile. Should we do a giveaway? I don't know. I mean, I know that it wasn't like pre-announced, and there are like 14 people in the stream right now, but I think it would be cool even if there's just a couple of people that want to enter in. I just think it'd be a fun thing to give away. White works the best though, right, Dustin, for the this method? Because I've seen colors work too as well, but usually I think when you do the colors, it removes the paint and doesn't, like, it's the opposite. It's like you would run a negative. All right, Chikaro's in. That's all I need. If one person's in, we'll do it. Yeah, let's do a giveaway, and that way I'll wrap it up and ship it out. Because I just think it's cool. Like it's a coaster. Like coasters are handy. I use a Aaron on my desk all the time. Like I've got this coaster, which, don't get me wrong, is a cool coaster, but it's not a Voron coaster. Okay, I don't know how. Let's see. Giveaway. Does anyone know if there's a simple way to create giveaway bot picker? Free Instagram comment, free Instagram parent. All right. If anyone has any idea, would tempera paint work? You mean instead of using spray paint? I don't actually know, Lisa. I don't know if there's something in the aerosol form of the paint. I would imagine it probably does work. Put black and green, but black and green and pink I know work. It does tint them. Oh, that's sick. Okay, I'll have to play around with different colors because all I've got right now is flat white, gloss white, and then I think I got black because I wanted to pick up some canvases, paint them black, and then run a negative engraving and for gifts. So, okay, let me see if anybody knows of a tool, live stream giveaway tool. I just want something that generates a link. Streamgiveaway.org. Tool for DLive. Nope. Free YouTube giveaway picker. Does anybody know what anyone else uses? Like, I know Nero's done some giveaways. like chat, raffle, giveaway, YouTube. If anyone has any ideas, let me know. Otherwise, I'm just going to everything I was seeing is like comment. Let's see. Does Stream Elements have anything? Stream Elements, YouTube giveaway. Okay, I know how I can do it. Wait, tripod uses tempera on glass because it washes out water. Google Wheel of Names. That might be cool then, Lisa. If it does work with water, that would definitely be nicer than having to use acetone, because acetone's not super fun. Oh, sick. Okay. So this will work. I just need full screen, more results, hide, shuffle. How to use random name picker. I just wish there was a way. Oh, share. If you continue, you will create a public link to your current wheel. Sick. Okay. Wheel title. Voron tile. Thank you. Yeah, this is like exactly what I wanted. Show the title to people who use a shared link. They should be able to spin the wheel. Wait, maybe this is not what I want. Show the title to people who used your share link. What should a person be able to do when they use your shared link? They should be able to spin the wheel. Streamlabs. I don't use Streamlabs anymore. They should be able to spin the wheel and make a copy of it. There's gotta be a way for me to I'm gonna figure this out. I just am shocked that they don't have a way to have people submit. Yeah, that's not what I want. Okay, let's just do, we're gonna do this manual. Anybody that wants to be in the giveaway, just type, just type tile giveaway in chat for anyone that wants to be in it. And I'm just gonna copy and paste names in. This was this one time because this was like a super, like last minute thing where I was setting these up this morning. I was like, this would be a cool thing to give away. And then moving forward, when we're actually doing giveaways for like, I've got some giveaways coming up for 3D printed product. I will have this figured out beforehand. I like the wheel of names. I just need a way to easily get names into here. So I don't know if that means that I create like another doc that people can dump their name into or what, but. Oh, check Discord. All right, let's see. Giveaways, stream elements. What are giveaways? Giveaways are part of a loyalty system. How do I add giveaways to my overlays? I think it's only for Twitch, DC. I'll have to look into this more. I'm pretty sure when I looked into it before, they hadn't implemented it into YouTube's system yet. Because this is like their loyalty program, which is super cool, but I don't think it works for YouTube yet. Okay, Stream Elements does have giveaways. I will figure it out then. But yeah, for this time, I'm just gonna manually do it. There's not enough, there isn't too many people to where it's like, I can't do it. Let's do desktops. You guys, can you guys see this, what I'm looking at? Cool. Yeah, this would never work, this manual. I can't even really get close to my keyboard, so I'm literally right-clicking. But yeah, if there was a ton of people in chat, this would never work. But luckily, like, we're at just the right amount where I can still manually do something like this. No, there might be more to it, DC. I just, since we haven't really done a giveaway before on this, I haven't fully looked into it, but I know that I did look into some kind of like cool loyalty point system thing, and that's when I stumbled across, I think, that article that you sent, but I'll look into it afterwards to see if there is something, because I know Nero does giveaways nearly like every stream, and so there's gotta be a pizza giveaway. I'm throwing you in, G Funny. I'll include a pizza in the in the package for you, man. All right, I'll let it run. It's 1:58, so we'll let it run for 2 more minutes. If anybody wants to get into the giveaway for the tile that we made on stream today, just type in tile giveaway in chat, and I will throw you into the wheel. I won't throw you into the wheel. You will get entered into the wheel. And we'll spin the wheel in, yeah, like 2 minutes here. Water, yes. It's for the tile, not pizza, Lisa. Maybe I could do an Evan and Caitlin style epoxy pour on a piece of pizza. That way it'll make the trip and not get destroyed. Extra pineapple. Oh, that's right, Lisa, you said you didn't like Hawaiian pizza, right? All right, one more minute. If you want to get into the giveaway for the tile, just type in tile giveaway in chat, and then we will spin. And then I'll figure out, a lot of the people in here are, I'm sure, in the Discord, and if not, I'll figure out a way to get a hold of you. But yeah, this needs to go on my list of things to check, because when we hit 1,000, which we also did hit, I'm pretty sure we hit like 800 subs, which is awesome. But when we hit 1,000, we're doing a giveaway that will have a couple cool items. So I need to have this figured out by then. As long as pineapple is on the side. They didn't overdo it on the pineapple on this pizza. There's like a piece here that looks primarily like cheese and not a whole lot of pineapple. All right, we are going to do it. Or press Control Enter. All right, here we go. 3, 2, and 1. This is pretty fun. Oh, Chikaro got it. I thought it was gonna be G-Funny. I didn't know how long it was going to kind of stall for. Cool, congratulations, Chikaro. You are definitely in the Discord, if I'm not mistaken, right? I'm like 99% sure I've seen you comment in the Discord a few times. Let me see if this will fit in a bubble mailer that I've got. Yeah, this will totally fit in this bubble mailer. I will try to see if I've got some more bubble wrap to put around it. I think I might be able to find some, but yeah. That was cool. I definitely like the wheel. Thank you to whoever in chat suggested it, and we will do more wheel. I just need to figure out the way to get him over there. Okay, sick. Yeah, if you want to, no rush at all, but when you want to, just shoot me a message with whatever the ship to address is, and I'll have it out by this weekend. So just let me know. Yeah, just message me. Congratulations on our first giveaway. That was exciting. Cool. So let's take a quick break from, well, not a quick break. Let's take a break from lasers. I want to show you guys the printed jib that I was working on that I will be finishing hopefully tonight. This thing's cool. I really like this. I don't have anywhere to put it. It goes on the living room couch. Yeah, this one turned out pretty awesome too, Chikara. So I don't comment much on Discord. I think my... Okay. No worries. One thing I just realized is, in this instance, I'm not worried about it at all, but for future giveaways, if I have somebody... I just figured it out. If someone's gonna contact me through Discord, and their Discord's name is different, then I should have them with their name on YouTube let me know what their Discord name is on here. That way someone doesn't falsely do it. Not that anyone would, but I'm just saying, like, you know, when giveaways are like we're doing, I think we're gonna be doing some giveaways for some diamond nozzles and things like that. Like, I just wanna make sure that, like, the winner gets the prize is all. So yeah, that's fine. Just message me with whatever your Discord name is, and just say that, hey, this is with your YouTube name, and then where you want me to ship it to, and I'll get it sent out this week. Okay, so the jib, let me see if I can slide this over. So this is the rest of the printed parts that I still need to assemble. This is like the camera mounts onto this part, and it goes, I need to still adjust the screws and stuff, but up and like basically pans up and down, and then it can go left and right. And then this is what I put together so far, which I was like on a roll trying to finish it, and then I realized I had to order parts and wait 2 days, which sucked. But so this is what I put together of it so far. It's freaking awesome. It's 3 kilograms of PETG. It weighs like 3 kilograms, but with all the bolts and stuff, it's quite heavy. And so the game plan is, the game plan is that I've discovered I'm crazy, and I don't know why I thought that this thing wouldn't be that big and there'd be plenty of space. So I originally planned on it just sitting here. That way when I'm streaming, I can like have this camera mounted, basically this camera will be mounted on top of it, and I can pivot it to different angles so that way you guys can get cool shots. But it may end up working out where like I need to have it over here. But this thing is super cool. So let me loosen this. It does a full back and forth 360. It can go up, down, and then this portion of the head can completely spin around too. So I'm definitely getting pretty far on the build. The main things left are the pins that I'm waiting for, which are for basically, like, it allows it to bend a bit. And then this tub, which is the load, this is the counterweight. So this will go on the back, it'll get filled with hardware, which will add a ton of weight to it. And then I'll basically slide it up and down until I find the correct counterweight for the camera, and then we'll be able to use this. So this thing is really cool. It was a ton of fun to print, and it's been very fun to assemble. And yeah, I would do a full video on it just because I think, again, it's kind of like a really rad, it's a really rad, okay, no worries, Chikaro. I prefer boneless pizza. Barbecue chicken pizza. I like barbecue chicken pizza too. I crave it sometimes. I'm sorry, Blake. This laser goes on the living room couch, and this printer goes on the ottoman. Yeah, it's our exercise bike holds a printer. My stool holds a printer. It's insane. It is absolutely crazy. Yeah, this thing is sick. So I don't know how I found the model initially. I actually think that when I was Googling for, I don't know how I found it. I think I was actually Googling for like live stream camera equipment or camera accessories, and somehow I stumbled across something that took me down a rabbit hole, as things do. And I don't know if it was like the YouTube algorithm playing into knowing its target audience or what, but somehow I saw this video that the creator made, who ironically his name is Dan, and the video starts off by like basically showing this exact setup where there's like this GorillaPod type ball adjuster tripod, and he's trying to get all these different shots, and it's really frustrating. And then this thing comes in and he like knocks it out of the way. And as I was watching it, I was like, this video feels like it was like it's calling to me, like I need to make this. And The creator of it does a lot of partnerships with my mini factory. They actually made, if you guys saw the clock that Breaks and Makes made, that's like insane. I mean, there's tons and tons of different mechanical like gear components to it. He's the designer behind that. And he's also got another, they're like Kickstarters, but not on Kickstarter. I think they're through my mini factory, but it's a small piano that fully works and it's printed. And so I didn't actually know that it was the same creator as this until later on. But yeah, the model just looked awesome. When I was looking around online for different ideas for camera things for the sake of the stream, I discovered what jibs were, which are these like crazy setups. And I've seen people make them. Like this one was inspired by, oh, brain farting again. Spacers. He built a big tank. He has a huge 3D printer. He builds CNC machines. He's awesome. He built a clock. What is his name? The guy, someone in chat has to know, because there's definitely got to be cross interest with his content. So, yeah, I can't think of his name. It's bugging me right now. But this was inspired based off of that. Like, basically, he made a big one, so this guy was like, that's too big for me. I want a smaller one. And so, when I looked around online, I saw that these types of setups can go for a lot of money. Like, they're typically used in, like, professional sets of sorts. And, I mean, we're talking, like, many hundreds to, like, thousands of dollars in some instances. And they weren't as good of a solution as what this one is. And so, it still costs some money. Like the files were $40, which is by far the most expensive I've ever paid for an STL or multiple STLs. But the level of engineering that went into this and the trial and error and the time and the guide that's really good, the guide that was put together, to me it was like, yeah, I'm happy to pay that amount for this. And I also still think that even with the 3 kilograms of material, which is like 20, let's just say 25, 50, 75, plus the model, 120, probably in it like 140 to 150 bucks roughly. It's still substantially less than like what it would cost to buy one. And the thing I like about this is that, again, with 3D printed, like there's the customizability aspect of it. So I got to choose like cool colors, at least colors I think are rad. And if anything ever breaks on it, I've got all the STLs. I could just reprint it. So essentially it'll work forever. And components are really standard. It's basically M6 bolts. There's a beefy, oops, I smacked the camera. There's a beefy bearing on the inside of it, which is, or a couple of them, which is what allows it to spin so freely. But yeah, it's just such a freaking cool design. And so yeah, all that's left is basically counterweight, get the pins on the back of it that allow the like adjustment a bit more, and then mount the camera head onto the end of it, and it's done. And so I'm gonna have this done by next week's stream, so that way when we're doing the Switchwire build, we can get all sorts of crazy angles. But this thing has been fun. All of it's PATG, all of it is Jesse's PLA, Jesse's Filament. Why can't I think of printing? What is, my brain is not fully working. Oh, no, not Uncle. I keep wanting to say Uncle Jesse. It's bugging me. 1 second, guys. Ivan Miranda. Yes. Yes, Ivan Miranda. Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. Thank you. It's not even a difficult name. Jesse, it's just Jesse, right? Just Jesse Filament. I think I'm so used to hearing like Jesse PLA. Filaments. Yeah, it's totally just Jesse PLA. Jesse Filaments. I don't know why it didn't sound right. Yeah, it's all in Jesse Filaments. This is their like Galaxy black, so it's got like little silver sparkles in it that look awesome, and then the green is their tree green, I believe. And it was all printed on the Prusa MK3S Plus, 3 kilograms, and it handled it all like an absolute champ. There was like 1 or 2 parts on these big beams because they're so solid and they take up such a big chunk of the bed where I did have to use those little mouse ears to help with a little bit of warping. But yeah, the Prusa, I basically just sliced, print, repeated over and over and over throughout all of this. So it was dual purpose. Like 1, I wanted to print this and make this, but 2, I was like, this will be a really good stress test of the MK3S Plus and like how reliable it truly is for all these parts. So yeah, I'm excited to have that. And then I did want to I did want to play around with the belt printer a little bit with you guys, or at least get a print started on it. What time is it right now? I haven't looked at, okay, it's 2:12. Yeah, it's only been 2 hours. I'm gonna grab another one of these like LaCroix water soda things. Try and do less Dr. Peppers all the time. They're not nearly as good, but at least they have bubbles. I think we're gonna take a like short break. Not a break with me being like off stream. I'm gonna be here with you guys, but I'm gonna eat one more slice of pizza. I'm feeling pretty hungry, and then I think we'll take the belt printer out and take a look at it and maybe slice up a file for it, if that sounds good to everybody. Scared that the whole pizza is gonna fall inside the ender, then I'll never get it working. I gave a detailed rundown of what the experience has been like so far with the belt printer, and it has been interesting. Like, most of what I know about 3D printing doesn't apply with the belt printer. The adhesion has been a very experimental, like, I don't know what the CR30 uses for its bed, but the Infi 20 uses, it's a nylon belt, or like a nylon coated belt. And so I've never used, obviously, anything like that before to print on. And so adhesion has been really interesting. Gee, funny. I need a tile with a Modbot logo holding a piece of Hawaiian pizza. I need to commission that. I had a cool idea, like, because I like art and design, and I really like the Modbot robot a lot. I think it's like a fun logo. And so I originally thought that I could design it, but I wanted to do like a summer line of stuff, like merch. And I had pictured it with like the Modbot robot with sunglasses on, with kind of like the reflective bolts type things on him. And he's like kicking back, and he's like lounging on a spool of filament with his like feet kicked up, and he's got like some kind of a drink with like an umbrella, like just chilling, enjoying summer. But it would be fun to have a couple of different poses of the robot. I tried sketching it up, and I just wasn't happy with it. But yeah, I would love to have a few different styles. I would definitely make a Hawaiian pizza one, just because we have to now. They've kind of grown on me. I mean, water is, when you're thirsty or you're exercising, water is good because it like feels like it replenishes the thirst, and I love cold water when it's hot out. But generally speaking, like, I think water is so boring to drink, and Erin drinks a lot. She's way better than I do of water. But like, I often want something, you know, other than water. And yes, I know there's juice and like all sorts of things you can drink, but I had gotten in a really bad habit of like wanting soda or something like that, and drinking a ton of Dr. Peppers. I've absolutely loved Dr. Pepper and Cherry Coke and root beer, but Dr. Pepper has been like the main one. And so we're trying to switch up a little bit and just not have like an infinite supply of Dr. Peppers here. And so we switched over to these, and like, it definitely, it's not a sufficient replacement, but at least like when you want something that's got the carbonation and a little bit of flavor, like it definitely scratches that itch. But it's no Dr. Pepper, I'll tell you that. I do miss my Dr. Peppers. I have a buddy who does graphic design, even needs someone to do logos. Cool. I might take you up on that. I know quite a few people that do graphic work as well. I just don't know what their schedules look like or what they charge or anything like that. So yeah, I might take you up on that. Let's leave it on the table for now, just because it's not on top of my list. But Lisa's been not bugging. Lisa's been, well, yeah, Lisa's been bugging me to get some merch out for a long time. I think she's been saying like, hey, when are you gonna get some merch? And we do have a, like, I think they should still be on the other channel, the main channel underneath the videos. There's like the shelf of different things, and there's some stuff on there, but I really want to go through and like also order one of each thing so I can ensure like, okay, cool, the quality of this shirt is what I would want. Because the initial shirts, or the shirts I have on there right now, they're okay, but the print only lasts so long. So I would like to go through some different places and see if I can find like nicer quality stuff. But yeah, Lisa, I definitely think has been the person the most that's been saying, hey, we need some merch. Peanut butter and jelly cereal. I love me some cereal. Me and Aaron sat down and had Cocoa Pebbles this morning, and then I walked back to the kitchen and topped it off with Cinnamon Toast Crunch. No peanut butter and jellies lately, though. Hey, Sim's here. Were you here for the giveaway, Sim, or did you miss the giveaway? I may, I didn't mean it in a bad way at all, Lisa. That's cool to know, Daniel. I appreciate that. I say that all the time, like, I need to get on that, or I need to do that. I really need to do that, spend some time, and I would like to just get a couple of different designs, even just starting with one, though, like a different one where I just think, like, him kicking back on, like, a spool of filament, like, hanging out, like, it could just be, it's like a cool-looking shirt, you know, that, I mean, I would wear. So, yeah, I just need to make it happen. I think I was a little bit disheartened when I was trying to sketch it up myself and was just like, this looks like crap. Like the image in my head was not coming out how I thought it would look on paper, I guess. Have an awesome day, G Funny. We might be streaming for a while if you get a chance to stop back in, but if not, we'll see you next week. Switchwire, we're starting the build/unboxing next week. Oh, cool. I will check Discord in just a second. Thanks, G Funny. Yeah, we did a giveaway for the tile that we engraved. No, wrong camera. The second tile turned out really good, and we threw a cork backing on it, so it's like a legit. It's a legit coaster now. But yeah, we did a spin the wheel and everything. Chicaro won. Okay. We are gonna move the belt printer. Oh, sick. It looks like, I'll have to look into this more. It looks like G Funny came up with a cool idea. It's basically for a forum where people can submit, and it would create a list of names that I can then just copy and paste. I'll take a look more into this after stream, but from what I'm seeing just from this initial thumbnail and what I'm thinking it is, that's awesome. And sort of in alignment, like we're pretty much in alignment with what I was thinking. You rock, dude. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so let's move the belt printer. It's definitely not super light. I'll give you guys the brief spiel of, let's see. Okay, let me unplug the Pi from it. Unplug the power from it. Just kind of awkward. Okay, so belt printer. So this is the Infi 20. I will be doing a full review on it in probably 1 to 2 months. There's a couple other reviews I'm working on right now, and also with it being a belt printer, I just need to like poke and prod at it a bit to see like what it can actually do. And also with some of the prints that I'm probably gonna throw at it, they're just long freaking prints, and so it'll take some time. I'll give you guys a rundown though briefly on sort of like what my experience has been like so far. So if that sounds good to everybody, could you make some quick measurements of your IKEA pegboard holes and their spacing? I can't find them. Could you make a quick IKEA pegboard? Sure. I don't know where my digital calipers are right now, so I will be using a ruler. So basically, if we're going from the right edge of the left one, no, yes. If we're going from the right edge of the left one and then the left edge of the right one, so like, I don't know how if you can see this, no, you can't. This gap between them, like this solid area, is basically right at 35 millimeters. The gap between, like the whole opening itself from left to right is roughly 5 millimeters. And top to bottom is roughly 15 millimeters. So the holes are basically 5 millimeters wide by 15 millimeters tall. They have a little bit of a fillet on the inside, so that's not, it's like, there's a tiny bit of margin for wiggle room. And then the gap between, like, from this one to the next one is, what did I say? Roughly 35 mil. And then top down is roughly 25 mil. I don't know if any of that helps. Hopefully you can pause or go back to the... Actually, I got an idea. We got an idea. One thing, and then we'll go to the belt printer because I don't want to spend too much on this, but I can show you by actually, let's see. And if you don't catch it right now, it should be on stream forever, so it can be referenced. All right, sick, this will work. All right, so looking at this, from this side, this edge of it, to the edge of this one is 35 millimeters. And from the bottom edge of this to the top of this one is 25 millimeters. And then left to right was 5 millimeters, the actual hole itself, and top to bottom was 10 millimeters. Again, there's some margin for that, especially if you're printing, because there's a little bit, like, it's not completely flush. There's a little bit of a fillet on the inside to it. But that's about as close as I can get as far as measurements go. Yeah. I hope that helps. So 35 millimeters between 24 millimeter. Wait, I'm thinking your question came before I just showed that on screen. Yeah, 35 between, 25 millimeter. So 35 between them, left to right, 25 millimeters from like top to bottom distance of the holes, and then 5 millimeters wide. Did I say 15 millimeters tall? I thought it was 10 millimeters tall. Oh yeah, you're right. I lied. Yeah, you got it. It was 15. You're right. 5 millimeters the hole on the inside, and then 15 millimeters tall. So I was wrong when I said 5 by 10. It's 5 by 15. You're right. My memory. Okay, so jumping into this printer really quick. Like I said, the belt is made out of nylon, and a lot of the reviews, the main reviews that exist on this, I think so far, are Chuck from Filament Friday, and I think the 3D Print General are the main two I've seen. And one of the things they point out is that it comes fully assembled, unlike the CR30. That is no longer the case. I am assuming that they were just getting way too much charge. Yeah, no worries, Sam. I'm assuming they were getting just way too much charged for shipping because it's a fairly large machine and if it's fully built like this. So it now comes partially assembled, much like most 3D printers that exist. So the base is fully assembled. This gantry is fully assembled, and then this needs to be installed, this needs to be installed, and like some of these side brackets. But the assembly for this thing is super simple, and it's, I would say, even taking videos and stuff like that, it was like 30 minutes maybe. So it's no more difficult to assemble than like an Ender 3. Wiring is also very easy, a couple of plugs. The difficulty began first with the, how's the build? Oh, okay. SainSmart is the printer brand. Yeah, exactly. This is their their design on this guy, which is pretty cool. How is the build? What do you mean by the how is the build? Like the actual quality of it? It's beefy. I mean, this thing, it weighs a ton. It's pretty much all metal, like aluminum extrusions. There's not a lot of plastic on it other than like the knobs. Yeah, I was very impressed with the build structure of this machine. The first major hurdle has been with adhesion. Adhesion, again, having this being my first belt printer, let's go side shot really quick here. I'll show you some of these and explain these benchy situations, but having been my first belt printer, again, this material is a nylon, which is a very strange material to print on. And so the instructions tell you to use the included shim. I don't know where the hell it is. I do. It's super jacked up now. Oops. Don't punch filament. They tell you to use the included little shim, right? And I tried that initially, and the nozzle was way too far away. And I tried everything from like having it a little bit too far away to like just right to like digging into the bed almost. And honestly, like you need this thing super close. Like the nozzle, like when it goes down, you can almost see the gantry like slightly move a hair. Like you really want it to be pushing in. So the leveling or the Z offset was a huge challenge to me. Also, there is 1, 2, 3, 4 screws on this guy, right? Like 4 leveling screws like you'd have on a normal 3D printer. And that didn't really make sense to me because the nozzle never moves away from right here. So I was thinking to myself, like, how do I gauge it from over here? Like, I'll never be able to bring the nozzle over here. So what I ended up doing is basically bottoming out all the screws. And then every time I made a turn to this one, I'd make a turn to this one. Or every time I made a turn to this one. So that way they were as level as possible. But that definitely was a head scratcher for me because I didn't understand it. Like, what relevance does this have as far as like it's needing to be leveled? You know, other than, again, like, you obviously don't want it to be crazy out of whack, but I just didn't fully understand how to properly level this, and I still don't, but that's what worked for me. There's also the ability to tighten, like belt tensioners. So there is it's really tough to show. Why am I moving the whole printer and not just the camera? So there's belt tensioners on both sides of this thing. Right above the power supply there, that's where there's like a gauge where there's belt tensioners, and you adjust it via 2 screws. There's 1 screw on each side. So this one right here, turning that to the right will pull the belt towards you. And so how do you know if it's the correct tension? That's a great question. I have no idea. I couldn't find any metric. Basically, my mind, like, you want it to be nice and tight. You don't want, like, if there's too much slop on the belt, then that's not a good thing. So I just kind of treated it almost like a normal like GT2 belt where I want it to be tight. There's a little bit of play, like if I press on here, it still can go down a bit, but I definitely didn't want any sort of like ripple, if you will, in the belt. And so how it came was pretty well fine as far as the tension goes. And then on the as far as the leveling of it goes, or the homing, there is an adjustment point right here. So this moves a little bracket, or basically, so the end stop is, it's not mechanical. It is, oh God, brain again. Inductive? Inductive? I think inductive sounds right. The homing switch, homing sensor, I believe, is an inductive sensor. And so it's on this little configuration. So if you loosen these two screws, you can turn this to make it raise up or make it go lower. And so it'll trigger the end stop quicker or not as quick. And so the goal with that is if you can adjust that to get the nozzle close to where it needs to be, and then use the bed screws to get it the rest of the distance. It was fairly simple. It was fairly simple, and really the main issue that I've had with bed adhesion is that no matter how slow, no matter how fast, oh, this is loose. I don't like that. One second. I don't want the camera to fall. It's not ideal. Regardless of how loose or tight I had anything, adhesion was just a nightmare. Like I took a photo on my phone and I threw out most of the parts, but I spent probably 3 to 4 hours before I got a print to stick. And that was like, tweak something, hit reset. Tweak something, hit reset. Do I think it's the problem of the actual machine itself? Not really anymore. I think it's just my lack of knowledge of belt printing and the fact that, again, this bed surface, and partially their fault in terms of like the instructions probably could have been a bit better. So I have not been able to get any of the pre-sliced files to print successfully. And the reason for that is all the pre-sliced files start by printing a tiny little line, like a priming line off to the side, and then they start printing. And it just doesn't stick. And so they, Idea Maker is what everyone has kind of sworn to me as the main slicer for belt printers. And I started using Idea Maker. They actually do have a profile for it on their website, SaintSmart, which is cool. And so with Idea Maker, it automatically generates these are essentially prime lines or start lines, and then it starts printing right at it. And so this does a much better job of priming the nozzle, but it also gives your print a really solid anchor point to start building off of. And that was the biggest issue I had, was that the prints couldn't even get a bite into it. And so this gives it a huge advantage. So these two were printed with Idea Maker. The reason why they screwed up is I was using Octoprint, and there's something about the belt's G-code that's throwing some kind of an error, it seems, at least with the way Idea Maker slices it. And then this is with Creality Slicer. They also gave me a profile to try for Creality Slicer and some starting G-code, and that's worked really well. So this is the second benchy I've gotten off of it, and if we take a look at it, the main issues with this benchy is really that there's some strings, so I need to dial in temps and retraction. Like if you look, there's some hairs on that side. But honestly, like this is a night and day. Is it not focusing? It's on manual focus because I'm silly and I pressed that. There we go. There we go. Now you can see the hairs. So obviously there's quite a bit of stringing, but that's pretty easy to fix by adjusting retraction, and I probably need to lower my hot end temps. But this is pretty freaking impressive to me. Like, would I say that this is impressive for, you know, any 3D printer that exists? No, absolutely not. But considering that I wasn't getting anything off of it to like getting this off of it, I think this is a pretty clean benchy. I really do. So I've made some serious progress with it. And really the main thing that solved all my adhesion problems was having this starting in the starting G-code. Just create this line, give you your anchor point, and you're good to go from that point onward. And so I need to do obviously a lot more printing. I've primarily been printing out a small army of benchies, which is funny because I love benchy, but like I've printed so many in my time. I've printed so many over the years that I've like don't usually pick it. I just figured for the belt printer it might be good to start with the basics. So, but yeah, the layer lines are not bad. Like, I mean, they're weird because it's at a 45 instead of, you know, flat. But I'm really, this was sliced, also I used to say, it was sliced at 0.2 layer height. I'm quite impressed with this, and I definitely would say that this like passes, it's better than a lot of other things I've seen. And I think in my mind, like, I'm not expecting the belt printer's quality to be exactly one-to-one with the really tuned, like, standard Cartesian style printer. But I do think that, again, if I tune this printer, or if I tune this print so it didn't have all that stringing, like, to me this is a fairly solid benchy. So I'm very happy with that. Really the next steps are just to do more printing, and some of the, like, mind-melting, Dustin says, tell them to send me one and I will tell them how to make it amazing. I wish I had power like that, man. I started talking, like, I don't often reach out to companies, like, as of late I haven't. Sometimes I will if there's something very specific, but usually I don't, because I have so many projects going on, and a lot of times companies will reach out, but this was a tough printer to get in. I started requesting, hey, is there any way I can get one of these in, back in, like, October, I think, of last year, and they just got back to me like a week ago saying we finally had them available. So definitely been, this part is really stuck. It's definitely, I should probably just have it go off the edge. It was definitely challenging, because I've really been wanting to get a belt printer in, because I think the technology is fascinating, and I just, like, a lot of people have asked me about belt printers, and I don't like speaking on things I haven't, you know, used myself, so I was very happy to finally get one in. Where's the freaking power plug? Here we go. So let's power this on. The hot end fan might be very loud, very, very loud initially. Like, it sounds like it's rattling the fan, but it's not the actual, like, it's not this printer's fault, it's my fault. I took some stuff apart when I first got it, and I think that I either put a screw back slightly loose or have something too tight, so it's, one of the fan blades is kind of rubbing on it. Turn on. The, oh, you did review? Oh, that's cool. Did you do YouTube or blog style? The one other main issue I had with this, aside from adhesion, which was the machine's fault, I will say, was I had the most insane skipped steps. And the skipped steps were all, like, in the Y direction, so initially I thought it was the belt. Well, what it ended up being was that one of the belts for the actual gantry up top, one of the motors for the gantry up top has a small belt that goes around a bigger, like, pulley system that basically turns both sides at the same time. And the two set screws, although they seemed like they were tight when I put the screwdriver to them, they were not. They were just loose enough to where it was causing occasional slips, and it became very apparent to me when it got to the point where it just was no longer able to move forward and backward. It was only going left and right, and the belt was moving. So once I fixed that up, everything's been fine. So the only real issue was that. The adhesion, I won't blame on the printer, because, again, I think it's a little bit of just me not really knowing how to lay out a job for a belt printer. And I asked on Twitter a few other people, and Chuck said that he put some IPA on his and that it seemed to help, but he didn't. He said to, like, contact them first because he's not really sure if the material and IPA are good. And then someone else that has a CR30 said that they put hairspray on their belts, which they said works really well. And I know that the CR30 I've heard of quite a bit of adhesion issues with, but I didn't want to do that if it wasn't an absolute must, because brain fart. Because hairspray is so messy, I didn't want to get in the habit of it. And they still have my firmware and guides for the course. Oh, the Coreception. I forgot that they had the Coreception. That thing was pretty cool. I think the primary place I saw it was over on 3D Print General's channel, but that was a pretty, it had, like, RGB LEDs in it, didn't it? Yeah, let's do a, or let's get at least a small print going on here. I think I might try the Chep Cube just so it's something small. Let's go ahead and do quickly share screen. I'm gonna do Idea Maker. Idea Maker, because I discovered some cool things with Idea Maker for belt printers. Windows. Oh, that must have been Ray's. Yeah, I was like, what was that? Was it a decent little Core XY, Dustin? I mean, again, I know that, like, it's hard to look back and be like, yeah, it was decent when you've got things like Voron now and Rat Rig and all that. But like for its time, would you say it was decent? Because there wasn't a whole lot of Core XY options out there other than like the Sapphire, the True Sapphire, and trying to think if there's any other ones. I can't think of many. Oh my God, it was your second printer and you're working on your 13th? That's insane. How long ago did that printer come out? Like 2 years roughly? It really slid under the radar for me. Like I don't know how I missed it. I still have it and it was good, but not out of the box. Gotcha. Run Idea Maker. Okay, so we've got Idea Maker installed. We're gonna go dark mode. Allow access. 1 second, I need to download. Okay, so let's look now for Scene Smart Infi 20 Idea Maker. Yeah, so they want you to use Scene Smart Slicer, which I think is like Cura version, but I've been using Idea Maker and it's been working pretty damn well, so stick with that. I like that they at least give you the option. Okay, so now we are going to go import downloads, Scene Smart, template name, new printer, new filament. Sick. Okay, so we have that. Pretty sure. Yeah, so in belt mode, they have like a repetitions option. Wow. Where you can say like, hey, I want 20 of these and it'll print one after another, which is really cool. So let's try, I'm just gonna do a Chep pawn because it's a small print and I don't want, it's gonna take forever otherwise. Thingiverse. I wonder if Chep's moved his stuff over to like things. Or is it under maybe like Filament Friday pawn? Let me see, Chep. There we go. Okay, let's do the one that's nicer resolution. Hey, local, how's it going? Yeah, basically got the first batches from Amazon. Damn. It's crazy how much 3D printing has evolved and continues to evolve. It went from like this thing that barely worked to like there's these like all these performance machines now. It's pretty freaking crazy. All right, so let's do import models, downloads, Chep-Pawn, and then layer height. We can do that. That's fine. 2 shells. Let's do 3. I don't usually do less than 3 shells. Infill. Bump it up a little bit. Support doesn't need it. And then I think I don't need to put platform addition because I'm pretty sure it auto generates that line. Preview? Yeah, so that's the line that acts as an anchor. Yeah, we'll just print out one of these Chep-Pawns really quick. See how it goes. Ooh. Okay. Export. So it'll only be the second thing that I've printed other than benchies and failed prints, so let's see how it goes. It is a 12-volt system, which I thought was a little bit interesting. That being said, it seems to heat up very, very quickly. I think the heated bed is super tiny on it. I can't really easily see it, but I think it's a very tiny heated bed. Since it really only has a small area where it's touching the nozzle, I think that that's the only section that's heated. Menu system is pretty lackluster too. Let's go, ooh, I keep punching things. So menu system isn't exactly the most exciting, but it's clean. The scroll wheel's nice, the little LED on the knob, like it works. There's very little settings as far as what you can do, but it does at least work fairly decently. All right, chep on. So yeah, you basically got nozzle temp, what it's trying to reach, bed temp, what it's trying to reach. You can adjust speed, you can pause, or you can cancel. That's about the extent of your control during print, so not exactly a lot. I'm gonna bring this camera a bit closer, if I can. It's annoying. All right, one sec, y'all. I think that I have, all right, let's do overhead really quick for a second, because I think I have spun this camera one too many times. All right, there we go. Okay, now it is nice and tight. There we go. I've had issues with my V2 as well. Oddly, it performs better with Clipper than Marlin. It was garbage out of the box for me. The Ender 3 V2? Ender 3 V2's worked really well for me. Like, I mean, I have a video actually coming out on it this Saturday. I installed a Dragonfly BMS on it. But once I, like, really just installing the gyros firmware, it made a huge difference in the whole experience of it for me. Okay, fan is gonna get super loud. I'm warning you guys. It doesn't even appear to be extruding. Okay, now it's extruding. But yeah, if you saw how long it took to even start extruding filament, like that line is absolutely necessary as an anchor point. Interesting, so it's the layer cooling fan that's really loud. I thought it was the heatsink fan. The heatsink fan is freaking huge on this thing. So yeah, once the layer cooling fan kicks on right now, it's gonna be loud. Hear that? It wasn't like that though before I took off this out of filament? Oh. It's not really out of filament, but I think that when I put the housing back on, yeah, I just have to touch it with my finger and it stops rattling. I think I goofed. Okay, well this is really old filament, and that is probably why it broke. But hey, the filament runout sensor clearly works. Which I think on a belt printer could be very important. Maybe not as big of a deal if you're like batch printing out 100 parts and it runs out, like, you know, you've at least got your parts finished. But if you're running like some insane, you know, where are my clippers at, man? If you're running some multi-day or multi-week print and the filament runs out, oh, it'd break my heart. Yeah, so I don't wrong the printer for that loud fan sound, because again, it didn't do that prior to me opening up the housing. When it was having like the skipping issues, like I wasn't sure what the issue was, and so I was investigating things, and when I put the cover back on, the fan started making that loud sound. So I think I need to adjust the cover or something. And I just haven't yet, because it's not affecting print quality, and as soon as I touch it, it stops. But I also like that this little, you guys can't see it, never mind. I'll show it later. All right, loading filament. Filament is in. Filament is spitting out the nozzle. I'm grabbing it with my hand. We're clicking OK. We're clicking start. I don't think it's going to prime the nozzle, which makes me think that we'll see how it goes. Yeah, that sounds right, Dustin. I think it was definitely a me thing. It wasn't making that sound prior to me taking it off, and then I was trying to take a look at the actual hot end to see if I can adjust it. And when I put it back together, it started doing that. So I just need to take it apart, which is probably not gonna take a lot of time. But once I started getting it to print like some benchies out, then I was like, all right, well, I don't want to deal with the sound right now. I just want to get this thing printing. There's some filament on the nozzle from it running out of filament. I wonder if zoom is better for you guys. Let me know. That's better, right? Definitely looks like the first couple layers are starting off kind of ugly. Part of it might have been though because it ran out and had a little bit of blob. We'll see how it looks in 10 minutes. It's not the standard quality hot end, not the standard quality hot end inside. I actually haven't seen any hot end like it before, I don't think. It is a freaking huge heatsink. Yeah, no, it's not the quality style hot end. Which I kind of wish it was, right? So that way you could swap things out. It's not, like the heater block itself might be, but above it, it's not. It's a really funky heatsink. I could try to get some shots of it for the review. I don't think I already got shots of it. Yeah, like, there's a lot of times where when I get a 3D printer to review, I already kind of know how things are gonna go within the first, day of using it. Like there's times where machines have proved me wrong. And from what I've seen of this machine so far, like, I don't think that this is a bad belt printer. Like considering what's out there, right? Like you've got the CR30, I know there's the iFactory, and then you've got the mini, what is it? The one that's in Kickstarter right now. But like what I'm getting at is like, so compared to what's out there right now, the price of this one I think is $750, which is quite a bit less than both of the other ones. Like I think it's $200 or $300 less than Crowley, and even more so than the iFactory. And the good things are, again, assembly is a piece of cake. And once you learn that you need that like kind of line for the anchor point, it's not that big of a deal. But do I ever think that this printer will be replacing like one of these Vorons or like a Prusa or, you know, even like an Ender? I don't. I think it's a completely different ball game. Like, if you want something fun to play around with, it's cool. If you need to make huge cosplay swords, you just can't do it unless you break it up into multiple pieces. Or, you know, again, depending on the part you have, if it's like a functional part where maybe aesthetics aren't quite as important, but you just need like some level of dimensional accuracy and you need lots and lots of the same part, it can be super powerful having it basically always printing sequentially. So that way, even if something goofs, you know you've got like a certain amount of yield or your batch left. So that's kind of my thought on it, really. Like, and I think that's probably going to be my general theme with the review. But like I said, I do think that the Benchy that I showed off, other than the stringy aspect of it, I thought that it was a fairly good Benchy. Again, not compared to what you can get off of a very well tuned in standard FDM machine, but I think part of the issue, honestly, that I believe is the slicers aren't exactly optimized for slicing at a 45 like that either. The bench you showed, yeah, I was very impressed with that bench. Like you said too, because I've seen a lot of belt printers. Like, I mean, I've been fascinated, like many of us, and so I've watched plenty of, you know, YouTube and TikTok and all sorts of different clips on them. And most of the time what I see is, yes, it's printed this big thing, but it doesn't look all that great. So I think part of it's slicer, part of it is hardware trying to figure out what works best. Because like this kind of cruddy looking bottom portion, like it's looking cleaner as it's getting higher, but the cruddy looking bottom is also still related to adhesion. I have the nozzle digging pretty heavily into the bed because if I don't, it's not sticking well. So if there's a way to solve that, then that will definitely help with quality as well. But like I said, I mean, this thing just came in a week ago. I've spent some serious hours, you know, prodding on it so far, but I'm still far away from really having a, having a full opinion on it. You know, it's too soon. Let me see, like once I play around with settings some more and some different spools of filament. Like this is a very, very old roll of material as well. I've been using kind of crappy filament, or not crappy filament, but I've been using like older filament for testing out because if it's failing anyways, it just doesn't matter. This one guy made a 3-legged, all 3D printed furniture with one. I think I saw that one. Was it white? Did he print white filament? The absolute thing to do to Creality. Take the heat break out and put a bimetallic in them. It's effort-wise the most impactful upgrade, so that was why I was wondering. Ah, gotcha. Yeah, I don't, I know it's definitely not a 1-to-1, and I haven't seen much of anything like it. It might not be very difficult to swap to something. The one thing I will say too though is that looking at, actually, you know what? I think I've got, one second here. Check my phone really quick. Okay, so I wanted to show you guys, maybe I'm incorrect, but the nozzle to me definitely, I don't think this is the standard nozzle on all Creality printers. The threading might be the same, but I don't think that the tip of the nozzle is. So this is, you guys won't focus, maybe a little bit too close. So the nozzle comes to a pretty sharp point, definitely more so than like an E3D standard nozzle. And I think that, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, I can't picture in my head right now what the standard Creality nozzle looks like as far as shape goes, but it feels like they have it a little bit more of a vertical end point to it, which I believe is, again, because it's at a 45, to like sort of allow it to get in without bumping things. But it definitely looks like it has the same like V6 threading, just a shorter throat. So the MK8, right, I believe is I think my package just showed up for the Engravinator parts. Just send you the address. Sick. I saw it on my phone right now, Chikaro, so I should be golden. I will get that out. I think I have to run to the post office to get it shipped out, so I will head there after work. I wonder if I can do it today. No, I won't. Aaron has the car. Yeah, but I will get it shipped out between now and this weekend. And the fan duct for his door. Yeah, there's definitely some cool things you can do with belt printers. You know, definitely. Like, especially if you're going to be post-processing anyway, then, you know, the exact perfect quality isn't even as important. But my general notion as of right now is like, yeah, I don't see this ever replacing one of my standard printers. But I do think that there will be some cool use cases for very long things, or again, like, you know, if I wanted to print out, for example, like another hardware organizer, or I want to print out some brackets for this, like, yes, I trust quite a few of my printers to print out batches of parts, but if I can't fit them all in one bed, and I'm like, hey, I need 30 of this part, like, to just be able to hit print and, you know, have it print out 30, like, for something like my hardware organizer, like, the drawers don't need to be 100%, like, the nicest, like, they need to hold parts, you know? But again, I'm not trying to even say too that this isn't capable of that, but it's TBD at this point, and yeah, it's TBD. I'm just happy that I was at least able to figure out that this little anchor thing made such a huge difference, and you know, the thing that was causing the skip steps, because that was very frustrating. I got this thing set up, was super excited, figured I'd get a successful print off of it, and 4 hours later, it's like the middle of the night, and I'm still standing over it like, what the hell is going on? Yeah, exactly. It's a unique tool. Yeah, of course, Chiguro. Congratulations again, man. That was fun. That was cool. I wasn't sure if it was going to land on G Funny or you, because it was slowing down, but I've never used that wheel before, so I didn't know like how slow it was slow. Yeah, I agree though, Dustin, completely. It's a unique tool for unique parts, absolutely. I mean, with anything, right? It's like, it's the right tool for the right job. Like, in a lot of cases, it won't be the right tool for the right job, but in other cases, it totally will. Like, I think it's rad how Pooch from Repcord has, he's got a bunch of CR30s that he has upgraded with, I think, linear, I believe, like, I don't know if it comes with linear rail, but if not upgraded with like linear rails and different motor mounts. And he just has them printing out the same part all day long, mounted to his wall, that drops it into an acrylic tub that he then gates parts. Like, stuff like that to me, like, it's a perfect application for one of these machines. Well, yeah, it's starting to get, can you guys, it's starting to definitely clean itself up the higher up it gets. If I can just get that. What I really want is some kind of a freaking good PEI belt that you can just swap it out with. Like, I feel that belt printers sort of like 3D printing, standard FDM 3D printing has gone through such a different journey of bed materials, right? Like, when I first started off, it was glass. Glass was always common. It was blue painter's tape. It was hairspray, it was glue stick, it was Captain tape, it was build tack. There was quite a few different ones, and like now, granted, there's still a wide variety, but like for me, like PEI works for 99% of what I do, and so I think that belt printers are kind of in that same phase where they're trying to figure out what the heck is going to be a material that they can manufacture in a loop system like this that is going to work. And I'm not sure that nylon is the material. I'm curious to see how it sticks with other materials because I've only played around with PLA. I'd love to throw a little bit of PTG on it. But I think that if we can get something like a PEI bed for it, it could be awesome. I'm making V-saw extrusion with ABS on this. Oh, imagine making V-saw. You mean instead of aluminum, Sam? Or Sim? Oh, interesting, Dustin. Like, are we talking like a roll of the sticker PEI adhesive or like a roll of powder-coated PEI? I would imagine it not being cheap, especially just considering like, you know, how much just a standard powder-coated bed goes, and you imagine, you know, that it's 3, 4, 5 times that. Plus, I'm sure they add a premium for its kind of uniqueness. No adhesive, but smooth. Okay. I know that I feel bad. Again, it's never anything personal. Just names in my mind don't stick very well. Faces I always remember, but the gentleman that's doing the Kickstarter for the small belt printer, he makes his own belts, and that seems to be a unique material. Some of them almost look like PEI to me, the belts that he's making. Some don't, though. I don't know exactly. I don't think you can get powder coated. I think it is spray. The Prusa Minis has a mod where there's a Kapton belt rotating, and I've seen that actually, Sam. I think he also was on Prusa's live stream, right? No, not the White Knight, Dustin. I'll show you right now. It's on Kickstarter. Is it? I might be goofing. Is it? Is it the power belt, or am I tripping? Yeah, no, it is power belt. But he also sells. Yeah, he also sells belts. For the CR30, for the under loop. I don't know what material it is though. He calls it Formula 32. It's definitely got, it almost looks like a thread, like a threaded material. I have no idea. They recommend adding glue stick to the conveyor belt as well. Yeah. Yeah, I think that a lot of people probably don't need belt pinners, JP, for most practical things. Like I think that it's either a want thing, which is totally acceptable, or like somebody has a very apparent use case for it. Like I thought that the idea, and I don't know how much crown molding normally costs, but I saw some guy print crown molding that looked pretty cool. God. Or if you're printing, again, just lots of the same thing over and over again, then I can see, again, if you're able to get it dialed in, you've got a STL, or you got G-code that's tuned for your machine, and you can just hit print times 100 and it just shoots them out, and like that's a product that you sell, I could see the appeal in that for sure. Granted, like having someone physically remove the prints or dump it into a bucket and put it back on and hit print again, it only takes a few seconds, but if you can remove that and just have it completely automated, I can see the appeal. But yeah, I agree that I don't know that I truthfully need a belt printer. Like I can't really think of any projects that, like, I think it'll come in handy and I'll definitely have fun using it for certain applications, but you know, I think that my standard FDM printers certainly could also do what, you know, what I need them to. Extrusion, aluminum shape with ABS. My keypad is at some weird levels. Bed adhesion is, yeah, I agree 100%. Bed adhesion seems to be one of the biggest issues at this point. It might be flexible carbon fiber. I don't know. Oh, I just realized I still have you guys looking at it. Sorry, I meant to go back. Yeah, I don't. It's possible. It definitely has a sort of thread-like look to it to me. It's way easier and cheaper to buy than print. Crown? Oh, yeah, crown molding. Yeah, no, I'm I'm sure it probably is. I just thought it was neat, like, you know, like, okay, that's something that is long that you can use it for. Yeah, I might print a sword. They had one on here that was it's kind of a short, it's more like a dagger than a sword. Maybe I'll print that. There are some pretty cool sword models. The only issue I have is because I work from in this room and I can't record audio when the printers are running close by, it makes it challenging. I have to like stage a print, like especially a multi-day print, like I won't be able to do any audio work because the mic picks it up. But I can probably get away with one of those hand daggers. Or like, which is kind of like an in-between, like a mini sword. Yeah, it's definitely looking better as it goes along. It's that the initial droop. Print the Master Sword. Yeah, that'd be a cool print. This is one of my favorite resin prints. One of my favorite prints in general. It's so good. I love it so much. I meant to airbrush it like forever ago, but I was having issues with my airbrush. Granted, like, again, I'm not good at airbrushing. I've only done it a handful of times, but I want to get the airbrush set up and do a little bit of airbrushing every now and then. I just think it's fun and, you know, a cool way to take some of these resin prints and give them life. Oops, I stabbed the camera. But I don't think it'll happen until after we move. But yeah, I love this Majora's Mask. It turned out so good. Zelda's awesome. I actually just got, for Christmas, my parents bought me a Zelda game on the Switch. What is the Buster Sword? Is it from... Is it... Thinking it's, let's see. Oh snap, like Final Fantasy sword? Yep. That thing is insane, dude. That is an aggressive blade. Yeah, that was printed on the Phenom. They have an upgrade path for the Phenom that takes it from a 4K standard LCD screen to a 4K monochrome LCD screen, and I'd really like to upgrade it, but I don't know. The print quality on it's really freaking good. I was so impressed. God, I haven't played Final Fantasy in forever. I've been meaning to play through some of them, like I know on PS2. Well, I've got rid of like almost all my video games, which like kind of breaks my heart, but it kind of is also like, yeah. I have so many distractions already that video games are like the worst for me because I just get so obsessed with them. But Final Fantasy is one of the ones where I've wanted to play through. And even like Kingdom Hearts as well. I had them on PS2, then I think I got the remaster on like PS3 and PS4, and then just never played through them. I really enjoy them though. Like even the artwork and the music and all of it, I think it's really nice. I don't know. Yeah, one thing that's strange too about belt printers is, so because it prints at a 45, like you can, certain overhangs that you would never be able to print on a standard printer, they can print without any issues. But then other things that you could print normally in other printers, you can't. So like, my mind still hasn't comprehended exactly the orientation of how parts need to be and like what's considered acceptable or not acceptable, which I think will just come a little bit with trial and error. Since again, I've only done so much, such little, I guess, printing on this machine so far. My wife grew up with the OG Zelda on the NES. Oh, nice. So I got her Breath of the Wild, and she put in. Oh my God, that's insane. Yeah, that was my first game on the Switch. It was Breath of the Wild. It's absolutely incredible. It's such a fun game. Yeah, the first Zelda game I ever played was Ocarina of Time on N64, which the N64 was my first console, I believe, other than playing at friends' houses. And then I got the Game Boy Color. And then we pretty much became a Sony family. PS1, PS2, PS3. Then I transitioned over to Xbox because that's what all my buddies were on. And then I went back to Sony because their exclusives I thought were better. And most of the Microsoft games end up getting released on PC as well. So it was kind of like, if I'm getting one console and I have a PC, yeah, that's insane. That's a lot of hours. I have the Final Fantasy VII Remake on PS4 and all Kingdom Hearts. Nice. Yeah, I love, when I was a kid, I remember that there was one of our babysitters, she was pretty much like a babysitter for my brother. My parents, I was old enough, I think, to be home alone. I was probably like, I don't remember exactly. I'm going to say somewhere between 10 and 13. So she was more so there to watch my younger brother that was like 5. And she came over and she was tight. Like, she was this like punker chick, like, and she played video games and stuff. And like, I remember like she showed me some like punk bands that I was like, this is sick. And then she showed me Kingdom Hearts. She brought it over and I was like, this is amazing. It's like Disney characters and Final Fantasy and like they're fighting and like it was so freaking cool. So for me, there's like this element of nostalgia because I can remember being a kid and playing it as a kid. So yeah, those layer lines look really clean to me. Let me zoom back in. Like again, I'm not saying best, cleanest lines on any printer ever, but I'm just saying from what I've seen, like it's a pretty nice looking part, man. Other than the little lip on the bottom. But other than that, like, it's looking good. I would say that Kingdom Hearts was a bit of a letdown. It was long overdue, and I still love Kingdom Hearts 2 over it. Oh, do you mean like the new Kingdom Hearts that they came out with? I didn't think they were ever going to come out with another Kingdom Hearts after. It was like, what, Kingdom Hearts 1, 2, and then Realm Reborn, I think? Yeah, I haven't played or looked at the... Well, I was excited when they first announced it, but I've not played the newer one. And I've also kind of heard that it's hard for something to live up to something after being anticipated for a decade, you know? I think we're gonna call the stream. It's been 3 hours and 20 minutes roughly, and I am feeling pretty tired. I think I'm gonna have another slice of pizza, kick back for a bit, and then get more Voron parts printing, and I will do my best to schedule the Switchfire stream later tonight for next Wednesday, and I'll probably post it in a community update in the community tab on the main channel as well, and then Twitter and stuff too, so that way we can hopefully get some more people over here. But yeah, next week we'll start the build. Well, Wednesday I don't know that we're actually gonna start building. We're gonna take everything out of the box, look at it, prep things because I'm probably going to want to organize some of the hardware before I tackle into it. But Wednesday will be like the ball will get rolling on the switch wire build. So let me go to Sony camera. Yeah, I think on that note we'll end the stream. Today was definitely a fun, like kind of random stream day. We took a look at the Engravinator, which I'm very, very happy with. Again, there's a couple, I want to print some little clips for the front door, and then I'm going to be installing a camera in it in the next 30-ish days or so. I'm not in a rush, but it's clearly working. We engraved this Voron coaster, and then we engraved another Voron coaster, which, what the heck did I do with Chikaro's coaster? Here it is. Where the settings are much, much better. The design is just a lot darker. So I will get this shipped out. Oh, good luck. Good luck, Dustin, with the water heater. So I'll get this shipped out in this next week here. But then, yeah, we played around with the camera jib, which I will, oh, that's what I gotta do tonight. I gotta get the camera jib assembled. And then we checked out the belt printer. So I'll post a photo of how this print turns out. And then I will also post the scheduling for part 1 of the switch wire, which is going to be freaking awesome. I'm excited. I'm sure I'll need help. I hope you guys will all be there. And yeah, everybody have an awesome rest of your Wednesday. And I will see you guys next week. Thank you everyone for watching and liking and any donations and everybody. You guys are absolutely amazing. And yeah, we'll see you next week.